get through this as quickly as possible, making sure that everybody can share whatever information they have to share. So welcome to CB4's October 16th, 2024 meeting. We're getting started at 6:05. We have 4 public hearing items this evening. I'm going to announce each. We just ask that presenters please introduce yourself. And we will start with the NYC Department of Sanitation Residential Containerization Update. We can turn on the mic and we have mics up front.
Embarrassing. All right. That's fine. Even better. All right. Can everyone hear me? Also, my name is Marissa Yanni. I'm a community liaison for the Department of Sanitation. Give 2 brief updates and answer any questions that folks may have. Number 1, starting November 12th, you must containerize your trash if you're building with 1 to 9 residential units, that homes, of course. If you already have a bin with a lid, that's great. Keep using it. Just make sure you need to buy the NYC official bins until 26. So you kind of have to buy those. Please wait. You don't have to buy it. If you already have and you find a bin on your own, I do not care. I do not mind. You're totally fine. Number 2, if you are a business owner, your fines, if you are a repeat offender, are going to increase dramatically. Your your second offense is going to go from $100 to $300, and your third offense and everything after that is going to be $500. That only applies for sidewalk obstruction violation. So if you don't have your private card or sticker showing or something like that, that's totally, it's not going to be that high. But if you're not cleaning outside your property, you have sidewalk obstruction, your fines are dramatically going to increase. So do keep that in mind before you don't clean. Try to clean. You tell me who I'm allowed to talk to.
Just some guidance. Board members, please share your name. Everyone else, please let us know who you are. If you are a resident, you can just say resident. If you're a business owner, so on and so forth. Thank you. Questions?
Annette Spellin, Community Board for Public Safety Chair. Would you repeat that date for the bins?
So the date that it starts is November 12th of this year, but you don't need to buy the official bin until June 1st, 2026. I'll probably come back around for that in 2026.
Anyone else?
Please excuse my back. I'm not trying to be rude.
Hello, Stephanie Anderson, Community Board Member. So if a business has like one of those bins and they have the garbage packed up to the hilt where the bin is just open, is that considered a violation?
It sure is.
Okay.
Oh, if you see that, you can either report it on 311 or you can report it to me. I mean, Celeste has my info. You can give it out to anybody. That's my job. You can report it that way or just report it to 311 for
Great. What is your name again?
Marissa. Sorry.
Marissa.
Yeah, you can just report it on 311 or report it to Celeste, who'll send it to me. And then you'll have my info if that works for you.
Okay, great. Now, is there any concern with our garbage cans being stolen?
Technically,
and if
sure.
they keep stealing it and stealing it, what would happen
If you've been stolen multiple times, then yeah, I guess you should be afraid it'll be stolen again.
No, but I mean, would we be able to request anything from sanitation, like a complimentary trash can or something like that? I mean, if we're putting it out, I mean, really, people will steal our garbage cans.
You are 100% correct about people stealing. No, as of right now, the city and Department of Sanitation is not offering anything to anybody regarding those bins. No discounts, no complimentary, no replacements. As of right now, that's what I've been told. You gotta buy it, and then that is it.
But we don't have to buy it until November. No,
Till June 1st, 2026. As long as you
June
have a
1st.
bin already, you need a bin with a lid. 1 to 9 residential units. So it's up to you what bin you're gonna use. Just put a lid on it. June 1st, 2026, the official bin. Air quotes for official. 54, sir, 54.
More questions?
Anyone else
Raise your
over
hand.
here? Okay.
Excuse my back.
Hi,
Yes.
Shalina, I'm a resident here. What do we do? So I know the bins are mostly for food because of the rats. What do we do if we have small construction or just the bulk trash that don't fit in the bins?
So actual bulk trash will go out as bulk. The couch, the dresser, right? That can go curbside as is. Don't try to put that in a bin. That's totally fine.
Right.
Construction waste, like home renovation waste, will go in a black bag in the bin as best as possible. We really don't want you putting any black bags out curbside, specifically if it has food or something, I forgot what the word is, eatable for rats. Thank you. Anything like that, that is, 100%. But I don't want you to get a ticket. So I don't want to stand here and say, go ahead, put the black bag out. I know it's renovation waste. You know it is. But a supervisor walking by is just going to see a black bag. He's not going to kick it and see what's inside it. He's just going to go by what he sees.
So it has to, and whatever we have has to fit in that bin.
Yeah, if it is the renovation waste, let's say, I would say put it out a little bit at a time then. Don't put it all, on your next day, don't just put it all out at once.
And I'm not too sure if it has to be less than 50 pounds.
Yeah. It's all right.
Yeah, because then they can't dig inside the can. I was getting a lot of complaints because the sanitation can't dig inside the can because it's too heavy. They have
Oh.
to carry the can into the garbage can.
Yes, we should do that.
So, Elizabeth Wheaton, resident. Is there a limit to how many cans we can have?
No, heavens no. Have as
Okay.
many cans as you think you need for your property. If
Perfect.
you think you need 3, buy 3.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait.
Oh. There's a system.
I got you. Let's raise it. Tell
What
us your name.
happens
Tell
if-
us your name.
My name is Rhoda. What happens if you ordered the garbage cans in July and you have not received them yet? And who's manufacturing these cans? Is it somebody here in New York or out of state?
That I cannot answer if it's out of state because I didn't look it up on their website yet. It is Otto, OTTO. That
That
is
I
the name
know.
of the company, which I know you know that already. If you ordered it in July, it is on its way.
311 says not until November 13th.
Why? Don't check 311, check Otto.
Okay, all right.
Yes, because 311 is only tracking your compost bin, but you don't get that for free. You already had that service for Brooklyn. The actual garbage bin is through Otto on their website. If you got the email confirmation, you should be able to click a link and it'll tell you da 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 da. But if you have further problems with it, get my email from Celeste or I can yell it out to everybody and then follow up with me. And I'll talk to somebody.
Hi.
One more question? Okay.
Hi, Pat, resident. So if you're a business operating with apartments above you,
Yep.
is the landlord responsible for all the receptacles out front and the protocol that operates around them?
So
So what I'm getting at is who gets the fine? Is it the residents in the apartment building? Is it the business or is it the landlord?
well, it depends on what the problem is. The residents don't get a ticket. It's gonna go to the landlord if it's the residential trash problem. If it's the business's problem, the business is gonna get the ticket.
And how do you discern that?
Depending on what it is, what time of the day it is. Businesses can only put their garbage out at certain hours of the day.
Yeah,
Like if it's before 8 PM, then an hour before closing, or they can't put it out till 8 PM. They already are supposed to be containerizing. So if I go over there today and I see just a black bag, I'm gonna assume that's the residential. If I see a lot of overflowing bags of things that I'm pretty sure is from that business, whatever it may be, then I can give a ticket to them.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Got someone over here, and then I'll get back over here. Please. Got 2 more questions and then we'll be.
You gotta have fun. You gotta have fun.
Francia, resident. I have 2 questions. If your garbage bin gets stolen, what you should do in the meantime? While you get a new one,
Come like 2026, you
Do
can
it.
choose any other garbage can, right?
right?
Right, starting 2026, you can't use any other garbage can besides the one we're selling. So you're saying if it gets stolen,
What do you use?
What you use in the
what are you
meantime?
supposed to use? We will come up with a protocol for that in 2026. Because as of right now, you could like put something into 311 and that would be like your confirmation code saying like, I'm telling you there's a problem. So as of right now, I can't tell you what that plan is. I'm sorry.
My name, I'm a owner. The
Thank you.
warranty for these garbage cans is, I think, what, 10 years?
Yeah.
Okay. What is a warranty for? When you read it, it doesn't make sense.
Why? What does it say? I didn't read it.
I can't remember it off the top, but if you
Oh,
had
okay.
to read it, it does not, it looks like it's warranty for nothing. So if the wheel breaks or the latch breaks,
Oh, right. Then it's still up to you to replace it. Per auto.
Any other? Oh, here and then there, and then that, then on Zoom, and then over here.
Stephanie Anderson, Community Board. Do we have to compost?
Yes, according to the law, you should be composting starting right now. Yard waste is mandatory and must be composted. By the spring of 2025, food scraps must be composted. And Brooklyn has had this for over a year now. You've had the compost service. So yes,
But
by
they
next-
haven't been, they never picked up. So we just stopped doing it.
if you've had miscollections, please make sure that you report that via 311.
Okay.
But that's fine. But enforcement is going to start in January for the yard waste and then in spring 2025 for the food scraps.
And we
So-
can put a regular black bag in there?
Yes, you can.
We
You can
tried
put
the
any bag you
composting
want.
bags, it
I don't really-
deteriorated.
Yeah, those don't.
Yeah.
You can use any bag you want as long as the bin is clearly labeled for compost and it has a lid on it.
Okay.
The brown bin? No, it doesn't have to be. You could use a bigger bin if you want. Just label it for compost.
And yard waste can go in there, you said?
Yes, yard waste
Leaves
can
and stuff?
also, right, that includes leaves. Yard waste can also go in a clear plastic bag curbside. So if you were raking up the leaves out front, like you might be doing today because of the weather, put it in a clear plastic bag, put it out for curbside. You can do that because you won't have a ton of room in your bin, let's assume. You're welcome.
Cecilia Fabian, board member. I have a compost bin literally in my corner. I've been using it, but at the same time, I've been participating in the parks near my area. Where did this compost go? Because we sure don't get it in the area where the compost that I contribute to.
We give the compost back in give backs, which we've been doing for Brooklyn all throughout the summer and spring. And also we give it to Parks Department and to schools. But if you feel that your park didn't get it, I don't know. I'll have to see. I'm not sure why it didn't go to you. But we have been doing give backs on them. Everything from Brooklyn and Queens, because you all have had I'm from Brooklyn, have been having compost for almost 2 years, if you include Queens.
Okay, we got one here and one over there, and then we're gonna go on Zoom.
Good evening, everyone. Felix Ceballos, CB4. I hear from some elected official, they say they try to put that container free. I want to know why the possibility about that. And also I want to say something else. I agree, commercial building, they can pay that container. But a lot of small owner, senior citizen owner, they can pay that, they can afford that. Why that roof of that kind of container? Because the city want to make control with the rat. The city had to be responsible for that. Not for senior citizen, they have a home and that now they have to pay for that kind of container. It's too much. Taxes are going up. The life is up. And like I say, a lot of senior citizens, they can afford it for that. What is the possibility about some elected officials say they try to put it free, most for that kind owner? Thank you.
Mr. Ceballos, if I may, what you're recommending is that everyone ask their elected officials to make the bins free. Want to be very clear about that.
Yes, I have not heard from any elected official. No one reached out to me specifically in my office to say, hey, we want to do this or how to partner with us on doing like a bin giveaway. But we will keep that, we'll look out for that. That has not been brought up to me yet. I think it's a really solid idea. There are restrictions on what elected officials can use their discretionary funding for. I think that might be the only hurdle at the moment of what they're allowed to use it for, if it's expense or capital. So that is just something. I think you're a local elected and you have Sandy Nurse and Jennifer Gutierrez. I would reach out to either of them for further information on that, just specifically on what you are allowed to use your funding for. Because that's a solid idea, but I don't know if they can use their funding for that. Because I just don't know.
I'll just also note, 'tis the season for participatory budgeting, and this may be a way to get more involved.
In the past, bins have not been eligible for PB.
Good to know.
Sorry, only because
Thank
I
you.
used to run it, so I
Thank
just know that.
Greetings, good evening.
Okay.
My name is Nadine Whitted. How are you? I'm the former district manager of Community Board 4. Thank you, everybody. Hi. Hello. Okay, as a homeowner, that's why I'm here tonight. I want to know, I think we at Community Board number 4, maybe about 10 years ago, we spearheaded a garbage exchange program, a garbage can exchange program where the homeowners complained that there were so many rodents in the community. The city said that the problem was our receptacles. So they gave us these nice garbage cans, of which I still have one, and it's wheeled, it's hinged, and they're good. However, my question is for the new program that's coming up in 2026, can these cans that a lot of us already have be retrofitted to fit the new sanitation trucks?
Without knowing, did you get those from a Rat Academy? Okay,
I think that we were the first Rat Academy.
you were the first Rat Academy. Okay,
Right,
10-4.
yes.
Okay, I do not know the specifications for the Rat. I've seen the Rat Academy bins. I've been there during a giveaway. I cannot off the top of my head say what the specifications are. We will find that out. If you still have those bins by 2026, not putting the eye on your bins. I don't want anything to happen to them. But if you still have them by 2026, let me see. I have to get the specifications from DOHMH. Let me see if they do match ours, because I think ours has that weird bar in the front. But do you guys have that too?
Yeah.
Well, I can't. So I either got to change my truck or change your bin, and I'm already changing my truck. So that's what we have to. Well, let's see how we change your bins. That's okay. We'll have to see about that. Oh, exchange 10-4. Which exception of the bar?
We have,
Interesting. 10-4.
we have
Okay,
two. We have one on Zoom, please.
okay.
Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Alan Gamboa. I was just wondering, does the DSNY need to move the cans, or could they be locked up to like a fence or a signpost for safety from being stolen?
Never to a signpost, never to city infrastructure. You may chain it up against your property line in between the collection days, but when it's time for collection, that needs to be free and at the curb. It
Okay.
needs to be free flowing, free sitting at the curb, and then you could chain it back up afterwards.
All right, I got it. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Joanna Bennett, Community Board 4. So even with the bins, people put contracted bags in the bin to line the bin. You're just not going to put raw garbage in this. I'm just confused about how the collection is going to go. When the Department of Sanitation comes, they're going to take the entire bin and then and take it to the truck and lift the bin, or they're going to pull the contractor bag out of there and throw it into the can. How does that work?
Always line your bins if you're putting garbage in there.
Yes.
Please do not put raw garbage in your bins.
We do that already.
Yes. So we're gonna pull out the bag and we're gonna throw it in the truck.
So what's
That way it's not sitting there for X number of hours, because you could put your garbage out starting at 8 p.m. That way it's not sitting there for X number of hours, because your collection day doesn't start till midnight. So at minimum, you're gonna have that garbage sitting there for 4 hours, which means anybody can add stuff, the rats can get to it, yada, yada, yada.
The reason for my question is I lived in DC for a while. The city gave everybody the garbage bin free. That was made possible by the city. And then the trucks were retrofitted so that the trucks lifted the bin in an entirety. So I don't understand New York that should be ahead of in technology and everything. We're going backwards here. You know, one, again, I agree that the cans should have been made free, period. Why not? And then to say that they're going to take the bag out and the cans are going to get damaged anyway, because that's the way sanitation continues to handle our property. And then we got to replace it. It's not going to be rat resilient any longer. It's going to be full of holes and dents. You know, I understand you're the messenger, but we're the ones who have to deal with all of this. If something just doesn't make sense. And we also know somebody's making big money off of this. And it's always us who's paying.
It's me. I'm making all the money off of this. Thank you for your comment. I appreciate it.
We have one last comment. Any other testimony for this item can be sent
way?
to the board's office.
Will there be like a collection bins?
Sorry, what do you mean?
Sorry, I don't know if you can hear me.
When you get the new what? The official NYC bin?
Yeah,
Okay.
we currently bin that we use.
Keep
So
using
will
it.
there be like collection of old bins when the official New York ones come into rotation?
There's not going
To
to be
recycle them or put them out on the street or whatever.
Yeah, there's not going to be like an official collection because you could do that now. If you have an old bin, let's say that has a crack in it or whatever, you just write that it's that it's recycling on there, then we recycle it. So yeah, there would just be more of that than there is now in 2026, I'm assuming. All right.
I just have
Okay.
myself have a dumb. I don't know if it's dumb or not. I know there's a proposal here for clean, public property. And on the proposal, maybe when we speak on it, I know we're going to speak on it. I just wanted, it says that it would clarify the Department of Sanitation authority and jurisdiction to keep the city clean and make a rule about how garbage is to be put out for collection. Is that the reason why they're waiting for next year? Because they want them to pass this and then we're forced to pay for something? So we really need to, I'm just, just putting it out there. Read the back of the ballot and we'll find the person that is here, if he's here, to tell us about the proposal that it's on there. I just wanted to be there, let your people know that regulations on how to put out the garbage can for collection, that's one of the, so I'm just keeping you minded and mindful. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho. And that concludes this public hearing item. Thank you, Marissa. We'll certainly be in communication. All right, next we have the NYC Campaign Finance Board ballot proposals presentation. Isabel, are you on Zoom?
Hello, can you see me and hear me?
Yes, we can. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I am going to share my screen and then give a brief presentation. Okay, thank you for your patience. Can you see my screen?
No, it's still loading on our end.
You try sharing it as a PDF. Apologies, everyone. Okay, can people see my PDF presentation?
Yes, we can see it now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Isabel Chandler. I am the Intergovernmental Affairs Manager at the New York City Campaign Finance Board. And for those who don't know of it, we are a nonpartisan independent city agency that empowers New Yorkers to make a greater impact on their elections. And we're dedicated to making our local democracy more open, transparent, and equitable. And I'm very excited to present more information about the 2024 ballot proposals this evening's. And just a short note, the CFB will never tell you how to vote. We just want you to vote. And we believe that every voter should have the information they need to make informed decisions at the polls this election. So I'll start with a summary. We have some important dates coming up before the 2024 general election. October 26th is a big day. It's when early voting starts. The voter registration application deadline is the 26th. And it's also the early mail and absentee ballot form request deadline. The early mail absentee ballot request to apply is Monday, November 4th. And then we have election day, Tuesday, November 5th. And it's also the last day to deliver a ballot in person at the Board of Elections or to drop it off at a poll site. And I've shared this presentation with the community board, so I'm happy to distribute it if that's helpful. So first, who are we voting for this election? Everyone's ballot will have information, or will have the option to vote for the president and vice president, the US Senate and House of Representatives, New York State Senate and Assembly, judges, and then ballot proposals. A ballot proposal is essentially a question that appears on a statewide or local ballot for voters to approve or oppose. It can be known as an initiative, a measure, a referendum. And what's key to know is that if approved by a majority of the vote, the proposal moves forward. The ballot proposals, there will be 6 of them on this year's ballot, 1 of which is statewide, 5 of which are citywide. Voter can select either yes or no on each proposal. And please remember to flip over your ballot or share with family, friends, or neighbors to flip them over. I will start with the first ballot proposal, which is a statewide proposal. It would amend the state constitution. So some brief context as to how it got here. The legislation had to pass in both chambers of the state legislature in 2 consecutive sessions. And now it is before voters in the form of a ballot proposal. So the first proposal would essentially, it's because the state legislature passed the Equal Rights Amendment. And what it says is it adds anti-discrimination provisions to the state constitution. It covers ethnicity, national origin, age, disability, and sex, including sexual orientation, gender identity, and pregnancy. It also covers reproductive health care and autonomy. Voting yes puts these protections in the state constitution. No leaves these protections out of the state constitution. It means that the state constitution would prohibit discrimination on the basis of an ethnicity, origin, age, disability, and sex. including sexual orientation, gender identity, pregnancy, and pregnancy outcomes. It would also protect New Yorkers who seek access to reproductive health care from discrimination on that basis. And if it passes, New Yorkers would be protected under the law from discrimination based on these criteria. And this I find very helpful. You can see in the state constitution the old language that the ballot proposal would change if passed, and you can see the new language that would be added. Okay, I'll move to the 5 citywide proposals, which are ballot proposals 2 through 6. The context for the citywide proposals, they are the result of the 2024 Charter Revision Commission, which was called by Mayor Eric Adams, and went through a series of public hearings and produced these proposals earlier this summer. The first of which pertains to cleaning public property. The proposal would amend the city charter to expand and clarify the Department of Sanitation's power to clean streets and other city property and require disposal of waste in containers. So voting yes will expand and clarify DSNY's power to clean streets. Voting no leaves laws unchanged. It means DSNY would have increased authority to keep city property clean, including parks and highway medians, and to hold street vendors accountable for following rules at those locations. It would allow DSNY to regulate how New Yorkers put out their garbage for collection. The next ballot proposal pertains to additional estimates of the cost of proposed laws and updates to budget deadlines. The proposal says that it would amend the city charter to require fiscal analysis from the council before hearings and votes on laws, authorize fiscal analysis from the mayor, and update budget deadlines. Voting yes would amend the city charter to require these this additional fiscal analysis, and voting no would leave these laws unchanged. The plain language summary of what it means: the city council provides cost estimates of the proposed laws before voting on them. The proposal would give the mayor's office of management and budget the opportunity to provide its own cost estimates before public hearings on proposed laws. This proposal would also require the council to formally notify the mayor's office before holding public hearings or votes on proposed laws. Lastly, this proposal would extend the deadline for certain budget reports in the first year of a new mayoral administration and permanently extend the deadline for the mayor to publish their annual city budget. The next citywide ballot proposal pertains to more notice and time before votes on public safety legislation. This proposal would require public notice and time before the city council votes on laws respecting the public safety operations of the police, correction, or fire departments. Voting yes will require additional notice and time before the council on laws respecting these departments. Voting no leaves laws unchanged. And what it means is that the city council would give 30 days notice before voting on public safety laws that impact the police department, Department of Correction, or the fire departments. During this time, the mayor and affected city agencies may also hold public hearings to hear additional public input. The penultimate ballot proposal pertains to capital planning. This proposal would amend the city charter to require more detail in the annual assessment of city facilities, mandate the facility needs that facility needs informed capital planning, and update capital planning deadlines. Voting yes would require more detail when assessing maintenance needs of city facilities, mandate that facility needs it to inform capital planning, and update capital planning deadlines. Voting no would leave the laws unchanged. This means, in plain language, the city must assess the cost of maintaining city facilities, infrastructure, and investments, and publish these assessments in capital planning reports. Okay, and the last ballot proposal pertains to minority and women-owned business enterprises, WMBEs, film permits, and archive review boards. This proposal would amend the city charter to establish the chief business diversity officer. authorize the mayor to designate the office that issues film permits and combine archive boards. Voting yes would establish the CBDO to support MWBEs, authorize the mayor to designate the office that issues film permits and combine two boards. Voting no leaves laws unchanged. In plain language, this means the proposal would create a new role to support MWBEs, allow the mayor to designate which agency issues film permits, and merge two boards that manage city records into one. Okay, thank you for everyone for listening. I've included a few helpful links. New Yorkers can visit our online voter guide. This includes plain language explanations of each proposal and will very soon feature summaries of feedback shared by New Yorkers on the proposal. This will give New Yorkers more context on different New Yorkers' opinions about supporting or opposing these ballot proposals. I've included our website and our New York City Votes website, which focuses on voter outreach and engagement. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Board members, members of the public? Anyone?
Yeah, I have one. I have a one. Proposal number 2, I'm curious in regards to what this proposal mean and what it means compared to if this proposal was passed, it's totally different. Meaning sanitation is required to clean properties under the city charter and hold street vendors accountable because the mayor did that. And it would also allow sanitation to regulate how New Yorkers put out their garbage to collect. But he regulates to put out. He don't regulate what we put in the can. So I'm just curious in regards where that, what it means compared to what is being proposed and passed. It will clarify the Department of Sanitation authority and jurisdiction to keep the city clean, which we know they do, and make rules about how garbage is put out for collection. So my question is, the proposed, what is being proposed compared to what is being passed is totally different. And I don't understand the reason why, but if that's the case and they want to implement a thing that they want to charge us for cans and us, instead of putting it out, does that mean that they don't want the bags in the street, they want them in the can? But if you want that, then they should supply it. Is that fair to say, or?
Sure. So I can't speak to what the department, if passed, this proposal wouldn't specify what the Department of Sanitation would do. It would change the city charter to allow the authority and jurisdiction to make rules about how garbage is put out for collection. So
Wait, we have questions here. I think I opened the can of worms, but yes, I
have an idea. So, see, right now, if your property is dirty, the front, right, they can give you a summons, right? So by what I'm reading here, see this little line that says, and about how garbage is put out for collection. They don't have the authority to summons you because you put it out in the container or in a bag. But once they have that authority, that power, then they could summons you if you don't put it, if you just put out the bag or if you don't put out the container. Am I right? I'm asking, you know.
Is that fair to say, or?
I'm not an expert in Department of Sanitation. I can do my best to follow up, but I believe I don't know if this ballot proposal actually specifies whether there will be summons or not. It just gives the Department of Sanitation the authority to make those decisions. And I'm happy to look into what that would mean for summonses.
Stephanie Anderson, Community Board Member. Our, I forgot what I was gonna say. You can come back.
Anyone? I have one here and then I have one here.
So, Karina with the community board, I think what this is talking about is, right now, parks are, New York State Department of Parks is responsible for cleaning and maintenance of the parks. I think this is what it's saying is they want to put that under DSNY jurisdiction. Same thing about medians and highways. I believe that's New York City DOT, or if you get onto a state highway, it's New York State DOT that's responsible for the cleaning of it. So like when you drive by and like the Jackie Robin, you see the weeds are overgrown, that should be like New York City DOT. I think they're saying that this would now put it under DSNY's jurisdiction, that they can now have somebody go out there and clean it. And then street vendors, I believe is NYPD. So that would then also put this under the umbrella of DSNY, or I'm not sure who's responsible, or DOHMH. So they would, okay, so that would just put, so they put it back under, so that was my reading of it, is that it's putting more under the DSNY bucket and away from other agencies.
But what I see here in regards to the proposal doesn't say that. If you see what they're proposing, it says how they collect the garbage. It's nothing to do with, correct? No, how they framed it or how they did it, there's no.
Community board member Zachary Hendrickson. I want to lift up what Chairman Camacho was saying. The ballot proposals here are, I'll just say, intentionally written so that they appear one way on paper, and then what they do in practice is going to be significantly different. One piece that's really important to understand about this sanitation proposal, it's written in a way like a lot of folks, maybe not us in this room, might think, oh, it's good. People should, DSNY should be able to clean up the trash. People should have to clean up after themselves. But the important piece is that it also enables DSNY at the mayor's direction, right? This is about the mayor's control to tell sanitation where to enforce, which is critical. This is also happening in the backdrop of a recent Supreme Court decision at the federal level that essentially made it without getting into the weeds, allowed for more harsh punishments against people who are sleeping outside. So unhoused people, homeless people, right? We've already seen that the mayor in LA has taken this and run with it and caused really horrible, violent sweeps of the unhoused people in those communities. This is what this is actually about. It's about giving the mayor discretion to say, hey, we're having a street vendor problem over here. We're having an unhoused problem over here. I want you, sanitation enforcement, to go clear that out now. That's what this is about. It's about the mayor's power. And I don't want to speak for too much longer, but I just want to point out that this is the case with every single one of these ballot proposals. If you're wondering where did these come from, where was my chance to talk about it? Sure, there were public hearings, but they weren't held with the same care that the ones have been in the past, because this is a power grab from the mayor. It's opposed by over 40 lawmakers, state, federal, and local, including our own Sandy Nurse, Julia Salazar, and Nydia Velasquez, if that tells you anything about it. If you want to find out more information, there's a website called nopowergrabnyc.org, nopowergrabnyc.org. Every single proposal here is about giving this mayor more power over what should be democratic processes decided by city council, who we all elect, and who have a shorter term than the mayor, right? They're more accountable. This is about giving him more power in every sense of the word, and we have to vote them down. Prop 1 is great. Nix 2 through 6.
Thank you. I didn't say it as nice as you, but yeah. Anyone else?
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, she remembered.
Final. Last comment.
Stephanie Anderson, Community Board Member. When we go to vote, will it be a simple yes or no, or will there be points, the valid points that we need to vote on?
I can share my screen. It will be a yes or no bubble.
Thank you.
All right. We have one more, and then we'll wrap up.
Ramika Nichols, community board member. So I just have a question about when it says applies to all New Yorkers. So how does this affect NYCHA residents, our senior citizens, especially if they said they're given DSNY authority to regulate or enforce failure to follow the rules far as garbage collection?
So the rules for NYCHA may be different. However, there's no longer public housing that's managed by NYCHA within Bushwick. So it's all privately managed. We can ask for that question for other areas that still have NYCHA run housing.
I know well, Section 8, like HPD took over.
So not HPD, it's a private management.
Oh, it's private?
Yeah,
Oh.
private management. All the rules that would apply to any other private landlord would apply to NYCHA.
So the private landlords would be the one who get fined, not the
The
resident?
private management, correct.
Okay.
All right, thank you, everyone. That concludes this agenda item. If you have any other questions, please contact the board's office. We will be moving on now to the CB4 annual budget hearing. Committee chairpersons, you should have received a breakdown by committee of all of your budget requests. Looks like this. And we will start with arts, culture, technology. I'll just acknowledge our committee chairperson is here, Zach Hendrickson. There are none. So we'll move right into civic, public safety, religious, and that's Ms. Spellin.
Hi, Annette Spellin, CB4, Civic, Public Safety, Religious Community. Our capital ask was a request for the NYPD to provide surveillance. Is this better? Okay. The Civic, Public Safety, Religious Committee. I am the chair. Our capital request was for the NYPD to provide surveillance, August cameras at Bushwick Playground and Central Avenue, Pilling Street, dead end. Our expense is request for the NYPD hire additional uniform officers and a request for the FDNY provide more firefighters or EMS workers.
Are there any other requests? Going once. This is for civic, public safety, and religious. Any other requests? Public safety, going twice. Hearing none, we'll move on to district office.
All right, I'm gonna have our district manager speak in regards to the capital, which is none, and an expense. She would fill us in on her expense request that we need help with.
There's just one request for the Office of Management and Budget, and that's to provide more community board staff, please. If there's nothing else for district office, going once, going twice, we will move on to economic development. Christine?
Hi, everybody. Christine Malden, Committee Chair for Economic Development. There is a request for the Economic Development Corporation, EDC, invest in infrastructure that'll support growth in commercial business district along Broadway, Myrtle, Knickerbocker, and Wyckoff Avenues. The expense request for small business services, support merchant ongoing Broadway, and request for other capital budget request for EDC, public investment in Broadway, Myrtle, and Wyckoff Avenues. And that is all.
All right. Is there anything else economic development related? Our small businesses? Commercial development? All right. Moving on, health, human services, senior citizens, veterans. James? Yep.
Good evening, everyone. James Stewart, Chair of the HA. So we do have a few expense requests. A request for Department of Health and Mental Health issue. A request to Center. Requests, including rat and mosquito populations to enhance outreach and conduct public education workshop. And then the last is a request for Department of Homeless Services, expand street outreach for the homeless population, and then a request for the NYC agent, enhance educational recreational programs at senior centers. Those are the committee's expense requests.
All right. Is there anything else? Any health-related requests? Anything, social services, senior citizens, or veterans?
Anything on Zoom?
Going once, going twice. I don't see anything on Zoom. All right, housing and land use.
Hi, everybody. Ann Guiney, Chair of the Housing and Land Use Committee. Our request, our capital funding request, is request for Housing Preservation and Development, HPD, to provide more housing for extremely low and low-income households. This is something we've talked about a lot at this committee and on the board. The expense is request for HPD, provide, expand, or enhance programs for housing inspections to correct code violations, to hire additional code enforcement inspectors. I think this is, again, enforcement. You can have all the rules you want if you don't enforce them. So, and then request for Department of Buildings, the DOB, to expand code enforcement to hire additional building inspectors. Thank you.
All right, housing and land use. Any other needs? I'm going to be shocked if I hear nothing for this one. Anything else for housing or land use? No concerns about zoning?
Yes.
Shelters?
Yes, I think that there should be concern about zoning as of right, as you see what's going on in the community where develop two or three houses down and create an environment that's not affordable for the people that were born and raised here. I think that there needs to be a push in regards to making sure that affordability is key. And also we haven't, I know back when Mayor de Blasio was on there, we wanted to see a youth program, one of recreation centers. I know we were fighting for it for a while on Bushwick and Madison, that empty lot that they have there every day getting full of leaves and grass and private parking. Bushwick don't have YMCA. We only have one 422 Central and it's Hope Gardens. And it was, why can't we have a recreational facility in Bushwick for our youth? So those are key things, and deeply affordable housing. We need to impose that and let all the elected officials know that we need that. The people that live here are getting older and they can't afford to maintain. Also homeowners, programs for homeowners for them to stay in their homes and try to create and not push away and leave. So we really need to work. We know that people come to this community and they love this community, but we've been here when nobody wanted to be here. Now everybody wants to come and push the natives away the way that it is. We need to work together regardless. And my kids tell me constantly, Dad, it's gonna change with you or without you. And I says, no, it's gonna change with us because we're gonna make sure that we be part of the change. And that's the key.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho. I second everything you say. I just do want to make the distinction between the zoning, the underlying regulations, and then the specific capital expense from the city. As a lot of long-term, participants here, members, or just folks who regularly show up know, we have been trying to change the zoning here for over 10 years plus through the Bushwick Community Plan to get to stop exactly what Mr. Camacho was talking about, which is these sort of lot assemblages where, knock down 3 or 4 smaller buildings, 3 or 4 stories, and then put up a tower because that's what the land use permits. So I do just want to make that distinction. We are, and we continue, we got shut down by the city about 5-6 years ago. It's an active conversation at the Housing and Land Use Committee. We welcome all of us, everybody's input. Come to this committee, come share your thoughts on this because it's really important and it's not going to change until, like Mr. Camacho says, we fight for it, we fight for it, we fight for it. We have to preserve the affordability for long-term residents of Bushwick, and that is just hugely important. Please come, but the specific ask from the city is actually money to develop new affordable housing for extremely low and low income folks in our community.
Stephanie Anderson. Yes. Stephanie Anderson, Community Board Member. I wanted to make a request that the city evaluate our current infrastructure because buildings are going up every single day and sewage can be an issue. Con Ed will definitely be an issue. And National Grid, I mean, they really need to check that out.
And like my district manager constantly telling me, zoning doesn't change anything. We can change. And that's what we need to do to change in regards to the zoning to we can afford, our people can afford to continue to live here. So
Felix Ceballos again. Like I said before about the container, now the small owner, senior owner, they had to pay for that. But also, like Camacho say, we want affordable housing. After the pandemic, is a lot of people, they lose their home, they lose their space, and we need affordable housing. But also, a lot of senior owners, they had to sell the property because they can't afford it anymore. They can't take care anymore. Not because they want to leave for the community. It's because they don't have other choice. We have to continue fighting. Thank you.
So I just have a few points of information. I think that everyone who comes to these meetings is very familiar with the same conversations we have all the time about zoning, about affordable housing. If we know that seniors have to sell because they don't have options, then I would strongly suggest the board consider asking for options. We can decide whether or not we want to talk about the issues or if we want to do something about the issues. And I think that we talk a lot about issues and we don't have a lot of results. And I'm not trying to be harsh. I'm just trying to be intentional and effective. Everyone here is spending their free time. We also know that term limits are coming and we won't have time with all of the longtime leaders that we've had here. And so I would encourage everyone to ask less and advise more. Ask less and request more for Bushwick. That's all. Thank you. All right, go ahead. Yeah, Zach, we'll bring the mic to you.
To your point, Celeste, and really good one. I would just encourage everyone in this room, if you have thoughts on housing, land use, and affordable housing in particular, make those feelings known to our council member, Sandy Nurse, and Councilwoman Jen Gutierrez. As we all know, City of Yes for Housing is being negotiated and talked about in City Council right now. It's unlikely that the mayor has full support to be able to pass that without people like Sandy, without people like Jen. And so if there are things that you want them to fight for as part of the negotiations, they have leverage in this moment to be fighting and pushing for things that we want to see in our communities. So if there are things that to be had, Housing Land Use Committee, I'm sure you've all talked about this, but also just any person here in our community that you want to see, let them know and let them know how you feel about this proposal.
Thanks, Zach. I can confirm recently that Councilmember Gutierrez's office did reach out to request the committee's feedback on City of Yes for housing opportunity. If there's nothing else for housing and land use, we'll move on. Environmental protection, transportation, sanitation.
Good evening, everybody. Christian Celeste Tate, Chair of Environmental Protection, Transportation, Sanitation. So for capital requests, we've got 3 requests from the Department of Transportation. The first is to reconstruct Broadway between Flushing and Van Sinderen. The second is to reconstruct Myrtle in between Broadway and Wyckoff. And the third is to reconstruct Wyckoff between Flushing and Moffett. Next, we have two requests from the MTA. The first is for an elevator installation at DeKalb Ave Station, and the second is for an elevator installation at Wilson Ave Station to make both ADA compliant. And then finally, from a capital expense perspective, we have one request for DEP, which is to inspect the sewer on Wilson Ave between Myrtle and Halsey Street. Next, for our expense requests, we've got 5 requests from DSNY and 1 for DEP. The request for DEP is simply to clean the catch basins around Bushwick, specifically in Maria Hernandez Park and Irving Square Park. The requests for DSNY are first to increase graffiti removal and cleaning. Second, to provide more frequent garbage and recycling pickup for schools and institutions. Third, to increase enforcement of canine waste laws. Fourth, to increase education for residents about types of recycling and composting available. And then finally, to provide additional funding for public drop-off sites where residents can bring and recycle electronics, textiles, food scraps, and yard waste.
Yes, great job. All right, anything else for environmental protection, transportation? Yep, go ahead. Didn't even finish the committee name. Let's do it.
I see you put clean the catch basins, which is great. Also, where there is a ramp going up the sidewalk, there's always huge pools of water there. So that's really an issue.
Are you talking about the rain gardens or like where you walk when you cross the street? Like the
Where you
cross-
walk when you cross the street and the curb goes down.
Okay, so for any flooding or ponding issues, DOT has a rule where you have to wait 7 days, and if the flooding and ponding is still there, then you can report it. If it evaporates before 7 days, then they're not gonna do anything about it.
Yeah, I've done that. They just,
Yeah,
they don't come.
that's just
But
the
I've seen
city's
it
rule.
in many places.
But if there is something severe, if there is severe flooding anywhere, that's something you can report to the board's office and we'll follow up.
Okay, thank you so much.
Anything else? All right, we'll move on to parks.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
so,
go ahead,
and the
sorry.
concern is, you're right, 7 days, but when it rains and the temperature drop and freezing, you wait 7 days, it doesn't melt if the temperature is below a certain time. So we got a hazardous condition that the city created by putting them pieces of plastic things by the crosswalk, and they do drops, because I know Wilson and Myrtle is a pond constantly, and it turns into ice. So
Please report any ice conditions as well to the office as they're observed. All right, we'll move on to parks.
Hi, everyone. Ben Tucker, Parks Chair. Parks and Rec, we have 2 capital requests and 3 expense. For capital, we have requests for upgrade the comfort station, reconstruct the comfort station in Maria Hernandez Park. And we have the second capital request is provide new construction or expansion to the Irving Square Park children's and toddler playground. Those are the 2 capital. The 3 expense were enhancing park safety by hiring additional Parks Enforcement Patrol PEP staff. The second expense request is forestry services. So that's tree maintenance and tree pruning and grass maintenance. And the third request expense is to improve trash removal and cleanliness.
Anything else for parks? All right. This is a great time if your neighborhood park is looking busted and needs some love. This is a great time to let us know, just as a note in the future. Yes, Ms. Bennett. Ms. Bennett and then Zach. Yeah.
Excuse me, this is Joey Bennett. Did it not come in the meeting about the fencing around the parks, that it was inadequate and we needed, because the fences are being cut and the chain link fences are inadequate? I believe we discussed to ask for better iron fencing around the parks. I don't recall the gentleman mentioning that, or was it not included?
Would you like to recommend that right now?
I'd like to recommend better, stronger fencing to protect our parks, other than what we have now that avoids, that's resistant to the cutting of the fences and intruders.
Thank you. This has been an issue at Green Central Knoll and also at Bushwick Playground. So I'll just make a note of that. Is there someone that would like to make a motion from the board on that recommendation? Okay. Alvina Davis seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. All right, go ahead, Zach.
This was a question. I was pretty sure at the budget meeting that we added in maintenance and operations staff. I don't, unless I'm like
It's missing, Zach. It's
It's
on the
missing.
actual budget report, but it's missing from this breakdown. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's all that I wanted to check.
Thank you
So
for catching it.
no problem. Awesome.
It's on the annual budget report. Yeah, prioritize, correct. So I had to add a few new ones. That one did not make this list because I was multitasking. All right, if there's anything else for parks, now's the time. Going once, going twice. There's nothing for permits and licenses. We'll move on to youth and education. And Virgie is not here this evening. She's excused. Would someone from the Youth and Education Committee like to summarize? Any members of the Youth and Education Committee here this evening? Okay, well, would you mind reading off these? Thank you, Chris.
Hello, how you doing, everyone? My name is Christopher Graham, CB4, member of Youth and Education. And please forgive me if I botch this is my first time seeing this. So, for capital requests was to create a new or renovate or upgrade an existing public library, DeKalb library, interior renovation, heating, cooling system, upgrade the sustainability project for drainage, request a new or renovate, upgrade an existing public library, the Washington Urban Library Branch, interior renovation, and elevator modernization. And far as the expense, requests for the Department of Youth and Education Community Development, provide, expand, or enhance after-school programs for elementary school students, grades K through 5.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Any other recommendations, requests for youth and education? Going once. Going twice. All right, hearing none, I will just provide a little bit of information on how these recommendations come into existence. The board's office throughout the year collects information through 311, your phone calls, your emails to our office, the consultations that we have in the district with agencies, our agency partners such as sanitation, with local community-based organizations. We also have borough budget consultations with city agencies where they respond to requests coming from the entire borough. We have committee meetings where there are discussions throughout the year where a lot of these issues come up. We have the full board meetings, and we also have an annual budget meeting every year, open to the public, where folks are welcome to come in, help with the prioritization exercise. You can recommend any request at any time until October 31st. I suggest getting it in before then because that is the deadline to submit. But please let us know if you have any concerns about the budget. And I thank all the board members for their participation. That concludes this agenda item. Thank you, folks. All right. Last on our public hearing agenda this evening, NYC Parks. Irving Square Park proposed dog run presentation.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jim Morris. I work for Brooklyn Parks. Thank you for having us tonight. We won't take much of your time as we were mentioning, there's many sports games on tonight, so we're going to get you back to those. But I wanted to give you a quick preliminary about kind of why we're here, where we're at, what we're going to be talking about today. We have our designer, Kim, David, that are going to be presenting specifically on a project that we're going to bring up the actual presentation on this TV. Kim, when you have a sec. Thanks so much. But before we do that, I'm just going to say real quick. So right now we are, well, first of all, we're very grateful to have received funding to put a official dog run inside Irving Square Park. We received $1.2 million from Sandy Nurse, which we're very appreciative for. This all started back in March. We started a 3-year process for this capital project. Every capital project in New York City Parks, 3-year process. What does that mean? That means that we had a scope meeting in March. It was March 27th. That kicked off a year-long design process of which we're still in. Once that design process is over, goes through a procurement period where we find a contractor, and then a construction period. That's where this construction on the park is going to be happen. I lead with that so people know that well, this one's going to be a little bit different. You'll see why. But there's going to be construction of an official dog run roughly in like 2026 or so. That's what we're working with. It's still a little ways out, but I wanted to lead with that so you know what we're talking about. And why we're here is we're going to show you the presentation and efforts for a community board approval, which is part of our process to get the design part completed. With that, I'm going to kick it over to Kim and David. This is going to be interesting because, it's a small screen. If you guys feel, like it's a concert, if you guys feel like coming closer to see the presentation, that's fine. But we're going to be going through a couple of slides that have just kind of what we're working on, and then finally a schematic design, which will be the kind of the main slide you guys will look at. That's it. So I'm going to kick it over to Kim, who has more details.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kim Buda, and this is my colleague David Wilson. And we're here to present our schematic. Can you hear me now? Okay. Hi, I'm Kim Buda. This is my colleague David Wilson, and we're here to present New York City Parks schematic design for Irving Square Dog Run. And our goals are to create a clean and accessible dog run, enhance and add to the environmental amenities of the site, of course, improve drainage, parks lighting, access and circulation, to provide a safe and separate space between the dog run and the playground. And lastly, to restore the lawn area at the south end of the park. So here you can see the location of the dog run site at Knickerbocker and Halsey. We'll go to the next slide. And the land use is mostly residential with, at this corner of the site, there is some institutional as well as the church directly across the street. One takeaway from the context is that there are no other dog runs or park amenities for dog owners within a 10-minute walk of this park. So here you can see existing conditions. And one thing to note is the current area where the dogs are using has a 3-foot fence. And then you can also see the playground adjacent and the circulation. Another piece of information. How's that? Okay, so apologies. Okay, and the other piece, so just to reiterate that the existing area where the dogs are currently using is a 3-foot fence. The site where the dog run is going is at this corner with Knickerbocker and Halsey, adjacent to the playground, and also you can see the Portland Loo location, which is going in along Weirfield Street. Okay, next. One of the takeaways for the site analysis is the general circulation through the park and trying to separate that from the site. And also this is a relatively flat site with no trees in the center of the location, where there's a lot of trees elsewhere in the park. Here you can see we do have one stump removal and tree removal. And here's just some existing condition photos. that show that it is a level site with very few trees. Some trees at the end of the site here. And here you can see from the entrance. So at the, you can go back to that, that's fine. At the community input meeting, some of the big takeaways were that safety was a priority, as well as a message board at the dog run. Shade is a priority, and also fencing and buffering from other park uses, and of course how maintenance would be taken care of, and then amenities such as the synthetic turf. So here's our schematic plan, and it shows two separate dog run spaces. We have the small dog area on the right and the all dog area on the left. A primary focus here was to place the entrance for the dog run at the sidewalk side, away from the playground, and also to provide both drinking fountains and hose bibs at each of the dog run locations for maintenance, and seating and additional lighting at both of these locations. Here you can see the existing fences, the 4-foot existing fence. And here you can see that we're keeping the existing 4-foot fence. Here you'll note that it's showing 4'6" because the fence is actually on a 6-inch curb. So there's a reveal there. Same with the fence we're putting directly adjacent to it. So there'll be a double fence there. And the back fence that's along the playground is actually a 4-foot fence on a 1-foot curb. So a total height of 5 feet. And here we have a section that shows the scale of what that would look like. And here, these are our typical site furnishings that we use in all our dog runs across the city, including our 4-foot chain link fence. And in this case, it'll be placed on curbs to increase the height. And here you can see our planting palette, which is going to also help with the buffer around the dog run to help give more of a separation from the rest of the park amenities. And that's our final slide. That's our schematic, and we're happy to take questions.
All right, folks, just a few reminders, name and your affiliation. Also, we're going to let everyone speak before people speak a second time, just to make sure we can get through all the feedback. The mic is coming around.
Hi, Barbara Jackson, CB4. I don't know if this question was asked before. Why at Knickerbocker and why not at Worcester, where the dogs already made a mess? And since you've given us all this money, whatever trees are there, they're dead anyway, you can cut them down.
There's a couple reasons. I'm happy to answer that. So one is there's a grade change at that area that makes it difficult to put synthetic turf or any other material that you would put for a dog run. So that's one reason. The trees, some of them are dead, like, those could come out, but most of the trees are not dead. And so when we have to remove a tree that's healthy, we have to pay tree restitution, which is extremely expensive. So that would eat into the budget and limit what we could provide if we were to do that.
Felix Ceballos, an architect in beautiful design. Congratulations. At the same time, because the city is paying a lot of money in that renovation, I want to know the maintaining, the time, how the park going to be open, and also how you control, like I said, the maintaining. The door is going to be closed in some time. I want to know about that. Thank you.
You guys all hear me? Yeah. Okay. So right now, you need the mic for people that are on Zoom. I'm used to having a loud voice, but I understand. Okay, so I'll still have a loud voice. So you're right. So right now, there's actually not a dog run in Irving Square Park. What is that? That sounds crazy because there obviously is. There's a section on the bottom That's not a dog run in terms of what Parks calls a dog run. So now there will be an official dog run in the park. Maintenance wise, what that means, and I want everyone to know this, is that it will go from a park that has loose off-leash hours to a park that will not have any off-leash hours, because the idea is that everyone will need to use the dog run to have a dog in said park. That will fix a lot of the issues of dogs just running amok in the park. In terms of maintenance, that is something that is, as Zachary was saying before, that is something that is a staffing issue that we need funding for. Maintenance is, these capital projects that we receive, we're very grateful to have $1.2 million for this park, does not include staffing. What that includes is just the infrastructure for a park. We were saying before about excavation. A lot of this is underground. We're digging down into the earth to get proper drainage. In the same community board as Maria Hernandez Park that has had some of the worst drainage issues in that dog run. It's like a lake 90% of the time. That's because it doesn't have proper drainage that we're going to be doing at Maria Hernandez. I was back here in February talking about the same thing. At this park, there's going to be excavation. It's like an iceberg. A lot of it's underground so that drain can go through. That's why we can't really partially, as Kim was saying, partially over there in Wilson, can't excavate there because there's a lot of big trees. That's going to kill the trees. We're going to have to pay for them, all these different reasons. So to go back to your point, maintenance is something that we rely upon a community, a good dog run group for. However, at the same time, it will be our parks enforcement as well that will be issuing citations for people in the dog run that are not using the dog run. That's the same system as any other dog run in the city. Hopefully that helps the question.
I got one here. And then I got one here.
Hello, good evening. My name is Tara Jones, Community Board Member. I need to know, right? Did you say $1.2 million for this dog run? Okay, I want to know one thing, right? Is it a dog run because the neighborhood is like gentrified? Because it was never a dog run park before. But why do they need to spend $1.2 million on a dog run park on Irving? So you're gonna be on this side, so the children, that they don't get nothing in there, right? No swing sets, no, they're gonna fix it? But how much they're gonna give the children? Oh, okay, well, that's good to know. Okay.
I can provide information on that.
Please, we fought for that. This board was very, very, very crucial to make sure that our youth, that the school is there, that the church is there, and that people that live surrounding in that area, to make sure that our kids have a nice, clean play area. Also, there's going to be programming and people are going to be there. So yes, let's talk about the dog place itself. So yes, they're going to be who? Here. Oh, I have someone here. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go to her first because I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
My name is Carolina Wang. I'm part of the community on a dog group at Irving Square Park called Irving Square Puppers. It's a large group of dog owners, responsible dog owners, that we have worked together in conjunction with Friends of Irving Square Park as a community group to help clean up the park, help with activities, help and support better programming for the community. I haven't been here as long as everybody else, of course. I'm also a business owner in the neighborhood, and I'm working very, very hard to help and understand and listen to everybody on how we can make things better. I think we've improved, dog poop in the park. We pick up after everybody. We've been doing cleanups once or twice a month of the park. We've helped with programming, and we want to continue doing that. And if we get this dog run, our group, I promise you, I'll put it on me. We are going to be there to support. We're going to be screaming at people, having the dogs off leash. And we want to make sure the kids are protected because that's really important. And all the energy we put in to get this dog run to this point of approvals, we're going to do the same energy for the kids' playground because they are getting $4 million. And that is a no, we have to make that happen.
No? Yes? Okay. Hi, my name is Joe from Friends of Irving Square Park. I want to thank Carolina for all her words that she said. hopefully a lot of you have seen this flyer that we created, right? We know this is a very contentious issue, right? It is expensive. I'll be the first one to admit it. But for the health and safety of the park, it seems like really an immediate need, right? We have more than 275 responses from neighbors within walking distance of the park that feel mostly that this is a good idea, right? We have about yes and about 25 against. About 30% of those people are parents, right? They're people who feel that this would improve safety of the park for their children, right? About 15% just renters who are, passing through, right? So this is significant people, right? This is almost 300 people that, you can see the green dots. Those are people who have person as we've gone through people's, blocks. So, and I also just want to echo what Carolina said. We are here for the health of the park as a whole. Whether this goes through or does not go through, this does not the park. You cleaning it up and trying to make it safe, but we really of benefit for the park, right? It'll help reduce the wear and tear on the lawns, reduce the sanitation costs on these lawns, and really just be a benefit in corralling all these dogs into a smaller area, right? One thing that the parks, I don't know if they mentioned in their proposal, that may be my last point, that southern area will be totally reseeded, rehabilitated, and turned back into a usable lawn again, right? Whereas right now it's basically nothing, right? That is included in this proposal, and I feel that it's important to highlight. So that southern area will be totally turned into a usable lawn, and the internal fence will be taken down to discourage further use as a dog run. We will be here if this opens to enforce. We will be here educating people on rules, and we will be here to make the park better for everyone. So thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Laura. I'm a resident on Eldert, very close by the park. It's part of the reason why we moved here about a year ago from Crown Heights. And I just really want to kind of just celebrate the process here. It's felt really inclusive. It felt like I had a lot of opportunities to share opinions, ask questions, and be part of this process. So just cheers to the community board on the notices that have gone out, the involvement to folks in the park. I had multiple people remind me about this meeting and previous meetings. And so I just want to acknowledge that. Proposal as it's set out. Safety is definitely of a concern for me. Our dog isn't the most reliable off leash. We keep him on leash, and having some safety of knowing that there's a safe place to put him, and also being able to trust the other dogs in the neighborhood has always been a concern, because it's like the Wild West out there. There's dogs running around everywhere, and to know that we can safely bring our pup and kind of have that secured location feels really important, and that can be a safe place for kids, and that kids aren't just at risk of my dog getting excited or the others that are kind of running around. We're also, I'm looking forward to the improved cleanliness there. I don't only use Irving Square Park as a dog owner. I eat my lunches out there. I sit on the grass. I read a book, and there's dog shit everywhere. So if we can restrict that to an area, amazing, let's do that. One just quick note, I don't know if we're at a point where we can change these things or not. The height of the fence feels really insufficient. I understand the measuring of 4 feet plus the curb. That's the height of the fence from the outside sidewalk. My dog on its hind legs is already 3.5 feet tall. So to be able to jump, it just feels like the fence is kind of a useless amount, that we would need it higher for it to be for that level of safety. That's it.
That was one of the proposals that
I just like to respond to that. The height from within the dog run facing the playground is 5 feet. There's a 1 foot curb plus the 4 foot. Yes. And there's also a planting buffer that also helps you know,
That was,
have it
that
to
was
go
the
fence.
concern the committee wanted. They wanted to make sure that inside the dog place that the fence is higher. They have a 4 feet fence that is on the outside, but inside will be of 5 feet. So the big dogs and the big dogs don't be secluded because they're gonna be, as you know, right close to the kids' play area. So.
Hi, all. My name's Sarah. I am a business owner in the area. Always nerve-wracking to speak in front of a bunch of folks you don't know. But I just wanted to say a couple of things real quick on this. I run a community organization between business owners in the Wilson general area, like Lower Bushwick in that area. So basically, I'm speaking to business owners, longtime homeowners, folks in the area all day long at my shop. I used to run a couple of the really popular restaurants around there. So I just know a ton of the folks and I'm a chatter. And so I just wanted to share that I've been speaking to folks about this for a while since I started getting involved with Friends of Irving Square Park and just sort of getting to know what's going on there. And it just seems that between everyone in the community, and I speak Spanish also, it's a huge Spanish speaking community. So not just, the white gentrifiers, huge concern. I think a lot of this, what I do is to combat gentrification as a fourth generation New Yorker and understanding what it is to be displaced. Also being a white person who moved into POC neighborhoods and is being a part of the displacement. I think working together is a big part of that. And so to digress, what I'm finding about this particular proposal is that it's really unanimous among community members, whether it's the folks that have lived there always, and a lot of the Spanish-speaking community and a lot of the people moving in as well. Most of all, the issue is around safety. And to me, that's what resonates the most, is just that the dogs are being hit by cars. The dogs can sometimes bite children. They could bite anyone. They need to be enclosed in their own place, and that is really for everyone. And again, for the grass to be rehabilitated so that everyone can enjoy the park and so that we can have more public places. That's one of the biggest things, is that it's a third space. It's a free space that folks can spend time in. And, when you can't always spend money on everything. And so to have a nice park in general and one that is safe for everyone is just a huge concern, like I said, to basically everybody I speak to about this. Thank you very much. Appreciate you all.
Zachary Hendrickson, CB4 member. Just want to encourage all of us on the community board to think we now have like a roadmap for when this is going to be happening, 2026, hopefully. I want us to consider this in the context of everything else that's happening at Irving Square Park, right? The Portland Loo, which means there'll be like a place for people to relieve themselves. One thing that I really love about this proposal is there's some additional lighting as well. So that's really great. That's going to be added like safety benefit for the nearby sidewalk. And we're getting this $4 million for the kids. So I think there's a real opportunity for what this is going to mean for the entirety of the park and for the surrounding area. So I think it would be really great for economic development and for some of the rest of us in various communities or some of these committees to start thinking about like what our plan like should be and like what people want to see from like potential increased traffic through that area. I think it's a really exciting thing. And if we're working with local business owners, I know there are many in this room, some on the board themselves. So I think we should be thinking about what that means for that whole area, because it's not just one thing that's happening. It's actually quite a few. So.
I got one. Yes, I have one on Zoom, two on Zoom, and then I'll make the last comment.
And that's Spelling Community Board 4. The one thing that I find is most important about this whole thing is that almost everyone has forgotten about the homeowners on Wilson Avenue who've been there for 60, 70, and 80 years, who've complained and complained and complained. No one has taken into consideration their wishes about what's going on in that park and with those dogs. And now we need that dog run there to keep them away from the Wilson Avenue side, so people who've been living there all their lives can have some peace.
Yep. Let's go to Zoom. We have Fran.
Hi, everyone. This is Fran from Councilmember Nurse's office. I just want to thank everyone for all their hard work, community board for advocating for the playground for so many years. A lot has already been said, so just a reminder, I also heard that it came up on the budget request for parks, that the playground has been allocated $4 million. And like Zach was mentioning earlier, this means that when the design phase begins for the playground renovation / construction, parks will also come to the community board with a design proposal. They will host community input session meetings where community members will have a chance to tell the parks department what they would like to see as part of this playground upgrade. So something that was mentioned at one of the community input meetings for the dog run was storage space for the playground. And when that project happens, building storage for the playground will mean that programming can finally happen at this park. So we have been working with the schools and other organizations to let them know that that will be a possibility. The council member has put in a lot of money and time for parks across our district, including Bushwick Playground and other parks that are facing other problems. We've pushed the city and the agency for improved fencing. So a lot is going on. Parks are definitely a priority for our office. So we do encourage you to call us with some additional feedback. I have a running list of parks that have different kinds of problems across Bushwick. So I'm happy to take down those notes. I know that we have done a lot of efforts doing door knocking around Irving Square Park to get, a lot of the neighbors informed. We've hosted town halls about this. So there have been many instances where information has been shared with neighbors, homeowners, schools, teachers, and everyone who goes to the parks across our district. So I'm happy to talk about it more. I'll drop my email in the chat. A lot of you know me in person, so we can talk about this a little bit more.
Brian, just a lot of people say that being a leader is hard. Getting people that been here for so many years, and so some of my board members and my colleagues that I worked on this board since I was a young kid. I have been on this board for 36 years. So I have been on the sideline, and I lived in Bush all my life, my whole family. To see the change in that area, and I just want to be mindful, with no ear on none of you that are here, that it's kind of that the people that live adjacent to them aren't part of the situation, not because of you guys, because of the people that were there and told us in the beginning that removed the trees, and a lot of the board members that were here, that it couldn't be done. Remember that the trees couldn't be done, and that's a beautiful tree. And then all of a sudden, I know people block had roses and fruits, and used to get vegetables there. I remember a long time ago. So I understand their concerns and their problems. So all of a sudden, now we're going to move it from there and put it over there. And, not ear on you guys, but I think our leaders need to do a better job in getting us together and creating an environment where we all can reap the reef and take that in effect. Because we were one that were getting tickets back when we were kids and we had our dogs. I had 4 dogs. So I know what it was like. And I had a Great Dane that was old already. My daughter was born, and now she's 29, and he died. And I have a picture with her born. And we had dogs here. It ain't like we don't care about dogs. We love dogs. But our position at that time was the position that our youth need play areas. And you have to understand something. Really, everyone who has a dog and has, because I know that's your loved one. That's just like your loved one, your dog. We have baseball fields now that our kids can't use, that they're using as a dog park, and that they're coming to us and saying they're taking our parks away from us. How do you feel when you have youth and kids saying that? You know, where is the dignity that they come to you as me as a leader and say, you know, things are going to change, but we got to work around it, and pushing things into people's face that they may not want. But it's working together, making sure that we can open both dialogue and say, yes, we're going to take care of your field. Yes, there are organizations here that maybe we need green grass. Because I go to baseball fields in Queens and I don't understand how their grass is green and the kids baseball field. And when I come to ours, it's weed, grass, and dirt and garbage. Why? We're in 2024. This shouldn't be. And then we got people that could afford to pay to maintain that for our youth and our kids. And all these parks, when I was the chair of Parks Committee, when Ms. Judy Dent and everyone, and when the last chair was there, made me the chair of Parks, I created an environment where, with the commissioner saying that these parks are by the kid in this community, because I don't need nobody from Staten Island, from Jersey, from other places using these parks. And here we got these kids can't participate in them. So we made our own leagues, and we got together and we created our own baseball league, Bushwick United or Quebradilla, and they use these parks. So my question is to you, to all of you, if it's a baseball field, it's permit for a baseball field. It's closed off. Now we have people cutting holes in the gate and allowing their dogs to come in there. A lot of people don't like enforcement because that's not up to, you know, we don't like enforcement. But what alternative do we have if a young kid is playing baseball and he's going home sick because the dog is urinating and he's putting his hand in his face with the dirt and he's stepping on crap and he's bringing his cleats home? How do you feel? Put yourself in that position. Look at yourself and say that. So it's hard to be a leader. It's hard to compromise and say and listen to our seniors and our people that have been here so many, and a young person like I am, to say, guess what? It's coming, you got to take it. No, it's called communication and walking and talking and working with them. What do you want? How is it that I can make it better for you? Are there situations that you may have a problem? Be a neighbor. Be a neighbor. Let's talk to each other. I speak to everyone. And we got to work together to make sure that we all together, because constantly my district manager is saying, it's coming, they're here, what are we going to do? We got to work, and we got to work together. I know a lot of you putting your head down. We got to work together. We got to make sure that it does hold people accountable, the people that we put to represent us, and them, and us. So we have to do something. We can't keep this nitpicking. Things got to get done. That park is terrible. That park needs programming. We fought for that bathroom when a lot of people didn't want that bathroom. But we need a bathroom because the kids were going to school. They were running inside because they were in the play area and there was nowhere for them to use the bathroom. And the church, when the kids come out of church and want to play. So we want to compromise and we want to work, and I want to make sure that all of us are in the same page when we vote on this critical proposal that's on there, and make sure that we do it for the people in Bushwick, whether it's them, us, or whoever it is. So I just want to tell you because it bothers me. It bothers me because I understand and I feel all your old time board members, and I see your faces and I know. And it's hard to be a leader. Believe me, it's hard. When you have to compromise with people, when you know that you've been paying and suffering, and it's hard, but you know, we gotta work on it. Sometimes I use my emotions to get my point across because I'm passionate about the things that I do, but we really gotta work on things. I know we have good people on both other side of the line, but we gotta make it better to make sure we can utilize that park and not be like Maria Hernandez where now they spent the green lawn field for the soccer. So now they're bringing the dogs in there because they don't want to bring the dogs to the big one. And there's issues with big dogs and little dogs. And now the soccer field that was there for the kids are being utilized as a dog. Because some of the people are sending us videos with dogs in that little green area there. So what do you do? I just want to let y'all guys know how we feel and what we feel. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho. That concludes this public hearing item.
May I
Any
ask a
testimony,
question?
please provide it. Yes, Deborah?
I just want to ask a question. I was raising my hand. I don't know if it was answered, but will there be a time limit for individual dogs in case some entrepreneurs want to take up a spot?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Will there be a time limit for individuals with dogs to be in that park in case there's someone who wants to be an entrepreneur with his or her dog and set up shop in the park? In other words, you got to be there an hour. Will they let you drift to sit there all day with your dog? Or will you be, limited? In case there's some, the area is interesting, we know what happens around here. So I don't want anyone setting up shop with their dog in the park.
The dog run will have the same hours as the park. It's just
There won't be
it's another thing.
limitations, so everyone will have equal time. You can stay there all day if you want.
Yeah,
Okay, and if
I
you
mean,
want,
just like you
report
could stay in a
suspicious-
playground or and stay as long as you want. There's no
Okay.
hours.
Just wanted to know if there was any limitations. Thank you. Good
No
night.
problem. And so I just want to say one thing, and we're from the design team for this. I know that it's the fact that we don't have a capital budget that we choose. We were given money specific for this park to build a dog run. This thing I sent out, this presentation I sent out as a schematic design. This is what we're going to be going with if there's no other feedback on the design at this state if it goes forward with the vote. I just want to be clear about that. Is that what you see here is what we're going to be voting on hypothetically. And that's what it will be when it's constructed. I just want to be a bit clear about that. There's a lot of other, conversation about dog runs in general, obviously, that have come up today, but I just want to be clear, that's what we're here for today, and that's what's going to be voted on hypothetically, but that's it.
They're separate, and is there, Camacho, there's separate entrance for the dogs? That's what they're.
Yeah, so if you look at I know it's tough to see it on the screen, but we have the main entrance for the park is actually going to be on Hall C. So it's going to be outside, much like a Maria Hernandez, that you access the dog run from the exterior of the park technically. But that's what the access for this dog run. So it's made that so it doesn't conflict so much with the playground.
So we're also gonna have a 5-foot fence around it and the 4-foot fence that's outside from the street, correct?
I'll let the designers.
It's a 4-foot fence. It's a chain link fence all around that's 4 foot. However, the height of the curb changes. And the dog run, within the dog run is a foot lower than the path directly adjacent to the playground. So that would give us an extra foot. And then on the sidewalk side, the curb is 6 inches. So it would be 4 foot 6 inches height. However, in addition to the chain link fence around the entire dog run, we also have a double fence at the sidewalk side, similar to how when you're trying to stop deer from jumping over a fence, you put in a double fence. They can't jump over 2 fences. Dog wouldn't be able to jump over this double fence either.
So that means the side on Halsey is gonna have that wrought iron fence that's there. That's a 4 foot. Then you're gonna add the link fence to it around it with a 5-inch with the cement barrier, correct?
Yes, there'll be a curb around the entire dog run that varies in height, but adjacent to the playground, that'll be 1 foot height.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you to the Parks Department. That concludes this agenda item. We will now move on. That closes our public hearing for this evening, starting with our regular meeting agenda. Board members, please help yourself to some dinner. Board members only right now. We will welcome the public once the board members have helped themselves. And we will begin with the first roll call. So please keep your voices down. And please sign in, board members up front if you've yet to sign in. Okay. Someone get that to Camacho. I don't know what that is. Okay. All right, I gotta keep the meeting going. We're still in the middle of the meeting. First roll call, everyone. If you want to get out of here before 10 p.m., one meeting. Isa Abney, Stephanie Anderson. Thank you, Stephanie. I got you. If you do not say here, you won't be present. Jacqueline Becerra. Joanna Bennett. Got you, Joanna. Makiba Brown Elaine is excused. Robert Camacho. Melissa Carrera Solano is excused. Felix Ceballos. Andrew Choi,
Here.
Alvina Davis, Karina Dodd, Cecilia Fabian, Freddie Fowler, Joanna Fuentes Singh is excused, Jason Gares, Christopher Graham, Ann Guiney, Deborah Hicks,
Here.
Tanisha Honeygan is excused, Barbara Jackson. Gotcha, Barbara. Kaisha Johnson. Gotcha. Please sign in, folks. Virgie Jones is excused. Tara Jones. Got you. Go ahead. Luisa Jose. Got you, Luisa. Christine Malden. Freddie Madison. Mary McClellan. Desmond Monroe and Alex Moreno are excused. Ramika Nichols Barnes. Zuma Navoa. Carlos Ortiz. Caitlin Penner. Raul Rubio. Eliseo Ruiz. Milagro Sandoval. Bernadina Shell. Barbara Smith. Annette Spellin. James Stewart. Christian Tate. Jessica DiBercio has resigned. Ben Tucker. Jerry Valentine.
Present.
Got you, Jerry. Linda Whitfield. All right, please sign, folks. Yeah, please sign. If you have not signed, you will not be present. Please sign. $28. I didn't hear you, Isa. Yeah. It's 29 with Isa. All right, folks, we have not adjourned yet.
No. Point of order.
29 board members are present. That constitutes a quorum. Is there a motion from the board to accept the agenda? There's a motion from James. Is there a second? Second by who? Got you. Thank you, Isa. One meeting, please.
Hello. One meeting, please. Meeting, board members, please. Thank you. Hello. We're not gonna start. We'll be here all night. Hello, we got another agenda. We'll be here all night. Excuse me. Hello.
Folks.
Could you please sit down? Thank you. One meeting, please. One meeting. We have an agenda to follow. If not, we'll be here all night. Please. Thank you. So let's go ahead. Thank you.
All right. Agenda item number 3, acceptance of the previous meeting minutes. Is there a motion? Say a name, please. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Raul. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. Agenda item number 4, the chairperson's report, Mr. Camacho.
Well, I'm gonna run through some of the meetings I went to. I know my district manager was busy working, so she's been sending me out there to work. September 19th, Thursday at 10 a.m. I did a walkthrough with Jonathan from the Congresswoman's office. We went to some of the locations in Hope Garden. I will briefly, real quick, let y'all guys know that there's been a little improvement in regard to some of the buildings, but there have been areas that hasn't been improved that I will address. 1201 gates, 1230 gates and 1240 gates not clean. Tenants informed us that the porter hasn't been cleaning that building, so we'll follow up. I know we have a president from the TA and the treasurer here. She can say hi. She knows that we've been working close with them to make sure everyone knows that Hope Garden is under the RAD conversion. It's a private entity. So we want to make sure that those people that are taking over continue to serve our tenants in Hope Garden. So I want to make sure that that occurs. That same day, at 6 o'clock, I went to the CEC activity that they had there they had the meeting agenda. As you know, the superintendent, Rebecca Lagata, retired. We have a new superintendent. Hopefully we'll bring her over and introduce herself because they've been key players with us in working together. That day I also went, so that day I went to three, I don't know how I did it, but I went to 3 meetings. We also had the NCO meeting at a public library at 6 o'clock. Friday the 20th, there was a meeting with Riceboro in regards to Casa Posiva. So we've been working with them. On Monday the 23rd, CB4 Parks and Recreation. On Tuesday, the 24th at 6 o'clock, Hope Garden had a town hall here at 422. There was a town hall, Maritza Davila, all the elected officials with some of the tenants that had concern and issues in regards to their rent, in regards to Section 8, and in regards to the boiler update. So we'll fill you in on a later time. We will get the person to come down that's doing the boilers that we signed a letter for to make sure that he tell us what's going on and how long it's going to take. Wednesday, the 25th at 10, me and Celeste, CB4 and District 32 on Zoom with the superintendent in regards to the need assessment. We sat with her that Thursday, the 26th, September 26th. I went to the breakfast at IS 347. Thank you for being at 9 o'clock p.m. I know there was a training at Borough Hall. I couldn't go. I know some of the board members, I know Celeste indicated to go in regards to I'm not too sure if it was in regards to the air quality, if I'm not mistaken. So I couldn't make it to that. On Friday, between 3 and 6, there was the ribbon cutting ceremony that everyone knows Maritza Davila's office is no longer on Wilson Avenue. It's on 673 Hart Street. We had a ribbon cutting ceremony there. I went there Saturday the 28th at 10 a.m. Hope Garden Cops and Kids with Ujima. Thank you, Anita Hayes and Kirk Bonds with Cooper Street Block Association. They had a baseball with the kids. Thank you, NYPD, for giving us time for the kids. Not only do they do what they have to do, but they also engage with our kids to let them know them and encourage them to do better. On the 30th, there was a town hall meeting here at 195. FEMA came down. Some of the flooded areas on Wilson Avenue, we're trying, I know there's money passed now in regard to the infrastructure. So we want to make sure that some of the flooded areas are being taken care of. On Tuesday, October 1st, I was at the Borough Board's meeting. This is very important. I know. Thank you, Caroline. We have a Borough President, our liaison here, Caroline Church. Thank you for being here and helping us and being a pillar. We want to make sure that we're inclusive and working together with our borough president. Just on the agenda, there were the air quality monitoring and also the 5-year plan in regards to the mayor's office of people with disability. So I know they had town halls at their place. I know we sent out board members ago. So I also wanted to let y'all know that there was an important point that I wanted to make. As you know, on the referendum, it says that 30 days notice to give for them to approve, council to approve anything. My concern here is that an assembly woman, man, or someone, I don't know who it is, I know it's Council woman Williams and Lewis. I think they're from Queens, man. I don't know. They wanted to change change a law to amend the city charter. This is very important in relation to term limits. Guess who they want a term limit now? Take a guess. Your district manager from CB4. I am very serious. There is a bill that will eliminate a community board district managers for 4 years with the possibility of reappointment and provide borough president with the power to remove the district manager as will. So this is very important. I requested through Borough Hall that we have her come to Borough Hall and tell it, or to him, her, whoever made this, to tell us the reason why. Because I am very concerned. One, the borough president appoints the members. Two, city council appoints. Three, the board is a private entity, an agency, and we appoint our district managers. So why are you taking the power away that we appoint and create because you do not have a good rapport with our district manager, whoever it is, whatever borough it is. If they want to implement that. We need to write a letter and let us know that our stand is how I stand. We appoint our district manager. We know how to work with our district manager, and we love our district manager. So we want to make sure that this referendum doesn't go through, because all the time I'm looking at these people, people that we appointed and we put to represent us are over there waking up one day and want to change the law without bringing it to us and letting us know how we feel, or if it affects us, or if it benefits us. So we want to make sure that that doesn't happen. So I'm going to fight for my district manager. I don't care what you guys say. We need to fight for our district manager, because we're not going to start all over. We went through. We had Ms. Whitted was here with us 40 years. Hold up 40 years. All right, giving to this community and lives in the community and bought the house in the community. 40 years our district manager. And our employees over 39 and 40 years too. So we keep our people that work with us and know what they're doing. So we're not starting over. So Wednesday, October 2nd, CB4 annual budget, as you heard now. Also want to thank NYPD, because I did went out with Ujima and some of our youth and cleaned up graffiti from 11 to 3. That was a holiday. And thank you, officers, for coming out and helping us. We cleaned Gates and Evergreen, the laundromat, and we cleaned Hart and Knickerbocker, the church there that was full of graffiti. We helped out. On Tuesday, October 8th, CB4 permits and license. On Wednesday, we had the CB4 District Service Cabinet meeting. On as I wasn't there with the on the Thursday the 6th, the 11th at 6 p.m. Borough Hall had the air quality monitoring training. I know some people were on Zoom. On Tuesday the 14th at 6 p.m., I went to the A3 precinct clergy. They want to get more involved. They want to make sure that everybody prays for something. Everybody believes in something. So we need our churches, and we need a little prayer once in a while. So I go there for everything I do bad during the week. I go there and they pray for me to make sure that I do good. So I want to make sure that we all keep our churches, because our churches are having a hard time. Believe me. They are having a hard time because of the COVID. Some of the people have to turn to other needs to maintain and keep. Also making housing on top of their churches, or selling their parking with no cars to make sure they can create the affordable housing that they want. So we want to make sure that our housing, our churches and our housing be pillar to this community, because everyone needs someone prays for someone. So we want to make sure that our churches and our clergy work together. And I love them all because they're good people. I also want to know that I went to the 18th Precinct Council meeting yesterday. I know that Ms. Davis told me that Barbara Smith, she's under the weather. As you know, a long-time board member, long-time community community fighter. Everybody know Barbara. I spoke to her today. She wasn't in, but I need all of you guys to pray for her. We really need to pray for her. I spoke to her. She didn't have any strength, but we want to tell Barbara we love her. We're gonna pray for her. We want her to get better. And that's it. And today is the full board meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho. Are there any questions on the chairperson's report? Hearing none, we'll move on with the agenda to the introduction of elected officials and representatives. Folks that are here in person, please come up to the front to where the mic stand is. We'll bring the mic over there. Folks that are on Zoom, please raise your hand. Elected officials and representatives. Go ahead, Fran.
Hi, this is Fran from Councilmember Nurse's office. Our office number is 718-642-8664, and we're located at 56 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Thank you. Angelica?
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Angelica Colon. I'm part of Councilmember Gutierrez's team. Our phone number is 718-963-3141. Thank you.
Jonathan?
Good evening, everyone. Jonathan from Boza representing District Attorney Eric Gonzalez. Our offices are located at 350 J Street, and our phone number is 718-250-2340.
In person? Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jackie Reyes, representing Assemblymember Eric Martin Delon. Our office is located at 366 Cornelia Street, and our phone number is 718-386-4576.
Good evening, everyone. I am Caroline Church, Director of Community Boards under the leadership of our Borough President, Antonio Reynoso. And it is my pleasure and privilege to be here tonight. As Director of Community Boards, I really want to thank you on behalf of the Borough President for being here to participate in that which keeps our community and our society going, civic engagement. This is what community boards are meant to be. I listened to the presentations during the public hearings. I heard the comments, and this is what it's meant to be. This is how we move our society forward, by engaging in conversation, by advocating, and trying to get to a point of common ground. So I really want to thank our members for coming out. You give a lot of your time to community boards. It's a volunteer thing. And it's not just the meetings, you're reading, you're attending workshops, you're doing the public hearings, and we really appreciate that from Borough Hall. I just have two things from our office.
Caroline, excuse me, just name and contact info only right now. Announcements are a little bit later.
Oh, okay. Well, that's my name. My contact info 718-802-3700 and 718-802-4836. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good evening, everyone. Maria Valdez from the Office of Senator Julia Salazar, phone number 718-573-1726. We're located at 212 Evergreen Avenue. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We'll move on now to introduction of agency representatives and community-based organizations. Any agency reps or community-based organization reps this evening? Please come up to the front if you're in person. If you're on Zoom, please raise your hand. No, we can do in person first.
Joe Tonelli, Friends of Irving Square Park, irvingsquarepark@gmail.com or 845-242-0456.
Leesburg Community Partnership, phone number 646-794-0078.
All right, on Zoom. Go ahead. I see one hand raised.
Hello, my name is Letitia Conley, Stockholm Family Residence Shelter on 99 Stockholm Street, 718-391-5060.
Thank you. And if there are any business owners that are in attendance this evening, you can provide your name or just say hello, name, contact information. If you just want to share your name and the business you're representing, that's fine. Business owners, if you'd like to share. Yeah, go ahead. Business owner, any business owner in Bushwick.
Hi, everybody. My name is Varun Kataria. I'm the owner of the Turks Inn Sultan Room, and then most recently Xanadu Roller Arts, the new roller rink in Bushwick. Hey, nice to see you all again. I just wanted to say it's going really, really well. We're a new business. It's been 4 months in operation, and it's just been a blast. We've been learning as we go. We've
Varun, excuse me, just name and contact info right now.
Oh, just
Announcements,
name-
yeah, announcements are later. So if you'd
Oh,
like to share
announcements
contact.
Okay,
you
my
can.
apologies. My phone number 612-867-0809. Email address is varun@xanadu.nyc.
Thank you.
Hi, and this is just cool. Hi, Kay Burke from House of Yes on Bushwick. My phone number is 585-217-7209.
Hi, Carolina Wang from St. Michelle Cafe, 462 Irving Avenue, and our cafe phone number is 917-414-2755. I have not memorized that yet.
Great. Thank you all. I don't see any hands on. Oh, wait, I have one. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead
Hi,
in person and then we'll go to Zoom.
Brittany Harvey. I'm from Harvey's Funeral Home, 1504 Bushwick Avenue, and the phone number is 718-455-3181.
All right, on Zoom, I see one hand. Matthew?
Yes, I'm just coming on behalf of Maurizio Davalia, sorry, and our offices are located, give me one moment, so sorry. Our 6073 Hart Street, Brooklyn.
Was that 563?
673 Hart Street in
Six,
Brooklyn.
okay, 673. Thank you. All right. If there are no other businesses, I don't see any more hands, no one in person, we'll keep moving. Next on the agenda is the A3 Precinct Commanding Officer's report. Captain Poggioli.
Good evening, everyone. Busy agenda tonight. Dogs, garbage pails. I gotta say, he speaks with that passion. And then, you see how the current condition of Barbara resonates with all of us, right? Like, she's a fabric of this community. He's a fabric of this community. And that's where that passion is drawn from, in circumstances like that. So listen, do we always see eye to eye on every single subject? Absolutely not. But when I see him and when we're leaving, does it start and end with a hug? Absolutely. And it always will. And Camacho, we all feel that her current condition, trust me. So before I get into some of our crime statistics, a point that had been brought up as previous meetings is what is the status of the assignment of a new community affairs officer within the A3 precinct? Officer Gomez retired prior to the summer, and proud to say that we now have his replacement, our new community affairs officer, and I'm going to give her a moment to introduce herself to the community, Patricia Kowalczyk.
Thank you, everybody. Just a brief introduction. I'm Officer Patricia Kowalczyk. I'm the newest addition to the Community Affairs team. I'll be working alongside Officer Lopez and Captain Poggioli. A little bit about myself. Some of you guys may have seen me before. I was a youth coordination officer here at the 83rd Precinct. So I was at the schools a lot, at the parks, and I also speak Spanish very fluently. So for those of you that don't speak English or feel more comfortable communicating in Spanish, feel free. I understand. And I look forward to seeing you guys more often and building relationships. I don't have a business card yet, but when I do, I'll give them out. Thank you, everybody.
So as we're moving into the fourth quarter of 2020 and now planning for the start of 2025, we'll be that much stronger of a team with two full-time So we welcome Patricia aboard. A lot of work to get done, but she's more than up to the challenge. I'll go through the crime numbers very quickly because I'd rather open it up to any questions or any other concerns that people like to discuss. Just to forward from where we were last year, we're now at 19 smoke shops, padlock and closed within this community. All right. The work continues with that. I know at our last meeting, somebody brought up an address on Evergreen Avenue. That place was also submitted and we're just waiting for that process to take place. But I think we were at 13 when we last met and we're up to 19 now. Moped confiscations, 447 year. So that work and efforts continue with that. Is crime down over 50%. Every crime index category down in Bushwick, over 10% over the past month, and we're approaching an 8% year-to-date increase. If you remember last time I spoke of that raw number of 100 incidents that we experienced a decrease on, we're now down 122 raw number in crimes, and the work continues. And how do we do that? We start planning for what we could expect to see as we make our way into the fourth quarter and holiday season. One thing we'll be focusing on, retail theft, some shoplifting conditions along Knickerbocker Avenue. If you follow our social media outlets, there was an image posted earlier in the week of a person who had fled on a bicycle that had just removed property by force at a store on Knickerbocker Avenue. That individual was arrested and apprehended today by your neighborhood officers. So he's currently in custody. So there's a efforts towards the retail theft. And then the other message I like to discuss, right, as we move forward into the holiday season, that's going to be an influx of what? Deliveries, packages coming into our homes, into our residential buildings. And if you remember at previous meetings, we spoke about what, like having some sort of system in place within the lobbies of residential buildings, you know, a safe space where people can maybe have a locked room and things like that. Like if we haven't already taken onus to that kind of dialogue that we spoke about previously, now's the time to do it, right? Because if there's 6 packages in the lobby currently in October, there's going to be 30 come December. So let's start taking those measures now, right? And let's go back to our either whether residential buildings, homes, and say, okay, what can we do better to secure our own infrastructure so we could avoid some of these incidents from being reported later on? And that's the dialogue that I expect everybody here to take back into the community, as we always say, right? Our text message threads, the conversations we have on our stoop when we go home, like this is what we need to speak about. So when we come back here in the coming months, we could speak about a further crime decrease. It's on the police department, but it's also on us to what? To spread the message of measures that can be put in place to further the crime decreases. So I expect, like everything else we do in this community, everything is a collective effort, and this is the next thing we're going for. So now I'm done. I know this guy first pitch already started, right? But your Met game? Yeah, I know. I remember you from last time. You had the Met shirt on.
I'm sorry, Captain, before anyone started, if you have, this is open for anyone. If you have a location that you have an issue with, don't yell 1440 something. This guy's selling drugs or he doing, because this is open to the forum. And we don't want nobody to point you out and say, I'm not too sure if anybody know why Maria Hernandez Park is named after Maria Hernandez, right? I don't have to, and if you don't know, she was assassin because she told the guy to stop hanging out in front of her stoop, and the guys came back and shot her. So don't pinpoint, don't get at. They're here. You speak to them in the side, but if it's anything else, but if it's in regards to location, persons, or videos you may have, you know, please deal with them because you don't know who's in here, and we want to make sure your safety is key. Thank you, Captain.
Yeah, and you know, we had this incident last night, and what did we do, Mr. Camacho? We sat down, we gave those individuals the time, we sat down in the office, and we spent time with them and discussed their issue they were having in detail. It was something we were already well aware of, and we had a lot of follow-up to present to them. I don't know if they were aware of all the follow-up we had to present to them, but listen, that's what we're here for. I've been at work since 9:30 this morning. You know, we got to do another couple of hours. It's no problem. So you let us know, but any questions or concerns now, I'm going to open it up now. Thank you very much.
Question?
Questions?
Question?
All right. Yep, go ahead on Zoom.
I'd like to know, is there any talk about increasing officers on November 5th, election day? Is the temperature of the city warm, cool, hot, freezing?
So every
Commercial?
election cycle, whether they're national elections, state elections, or local elections, there's details that are run throughout the city. Every polling site within the city of New York has a uniformed officer assigned to that.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Stephanie Anderson, Community Board. I wanted to know that when a person takes pictures and videos, can they give that to the police? Because I've been told that by the police that, oh, I had to be there to see it. Like the cop had to be there to see it in order for it to be viable.
Well, I guess it would depend on what the image or the picture depicted, right? So the way it works, that a violation needs to be observed firsthand by a police officer to take enforcement action on.
Like defacing public property?
No,
defacing
public
private property?
That would be, if it's like vandalism or if it's cleanable, it's all specific on the circumstances. Beyond the violation, though, there could be some reaction taken if something raises to the offense of a misdemeanor or, but for a specific violation, yes, it would have to be observed by an officer. But again, every situation is unique. Depending on what the pictures were, you know, like you may be viewing it one way, I could maybe say, hey, you know what, that's not only this, but could also be that, and we could be able to devise a solution in that manner.
Okay, thank you
Okay?
very much.
All right, you're welcome.
James Stewart, CB4. I have a question. I have constant trouble with people blocking my driveway. And then, of course, we have the 311 and that we use. But there's been a couple of occasions in which cops have responded that it's not their job to patrol it. And I'm like, well, whose job is it? Because 311 designates it, or the city designates it for cops to do it. So I'm just trying to find out some clarity on that.
A chronic location, you know, I won't take it from you now in this forum, but I'll have one of my community affairs officers follow up with you before we leave here tonight. And that's something I could easily pass along. In addition to like patrol officers, right, that respond to 911 calls for service, 311 calls for service. We also have a traffic safety team within the precinct, right? 2 officers that deploy on an early morning start about 5 a.m., walk about to 2 in the afternoon. And then I also have an officer that starts about 4 in the afternoon that works to about midnight. And their sole responsibilities, well, let me not say sole, right? They're police officers for the city of New York, but one of their main responsibilities is traffic related enforcement. And that's easily something that it could be tasked to them for them to pass by the location.
Thank you, Cap.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Miss Sanitation. Miss Sanitation. You were late. I saw you walking. I was like, she missed a shot.
I'm want to ask question, but it's mainly a comment, I guess. My husband just recently had an accident on Gates in Bedford. He was on a motorcycle and he fell. Cops passed through, looked at him on the floor, and he always been supportive of the police, but this day he was really upset. He said, yeah, I was almost dead on the floor. Cops passed, didn't just looked at me and just didn't care. When something like that happened, do I take the number of the car? Do I do anything in regard to that? Because I feel that, I mean, as a police officer, if you see me laying on the floor, you at least will ask me if I'm okay or look at
Oh,
me.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if they came across anybody who was in help of need, they should entitled to stop and make sure that your husband was all right. You know, sorry to hear that. You said that happened on Gates and Bedford.
Yes, it was some debris on the floor and stuff, but it took him, he's recovering now because he even had an infection on his foot because the motorcycle went through his foot.
Mhm.
But it was just, he just couldn't believe that the police officer just looked at him and didn't care.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's an unfortunate incident. And I apologize that that happened to your husband.
No, thank God. You said Bedford. We don't, they don't belong there. They had a tour then. If you said Bedford, they had a tour. No.
I mean, listen, it could be any car that's driving through the city, but it would have to be identified by like the specific car number. But 7, you heard it there.
Hi, Christine Malden, Community Board 4.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks. So I know we talk a lot about the proliferation of nightlife establishments around the Jefferson L stop. And I also know that about 3 weeks ago, someone was pushed from the subway platform early in the early AM.
Yeah.
And as somebody who is frequently on the subway and living in that neighborhood and concerned about it, I don't know, it might not be your purview, it might be the MTA, but I'm curious if you could tell us a little bit more about that. And just also, again, to highlight that I know that you all are doing a lot of work with shuttering the business, the illegal cannabis operations and with the nightlife, et cetera, but there are real consequences to what's going on in that neighborhood. And I think this is a good example of that.
Well,
Thank you.
yeah, that it was like a Tuesday or Wednesday morning when that happened. On a weekday morning, there was a female that was involved with an altercation with the male, was pushed to the tracks. She suffered non-life-threatening injuries. But, when called to action, that's when the NYPD is at its best, right? Like, and that specific incident, a lot of video, right, in those train stations over there. There was a still image that was procured from those video cameras, distributed, identified, and that individual was in custody in less than 24 hours. Like it was a quick response, and not just the identification of said individual, but the subsequent apprehension of him. Truly, like, and that's makes you proud, right? To be a police officer at times like that, right? There's a litany of complaints and quality of life issues we deal with, and then there's occurrences like that where are really, really, really like dire circumstances. And I think that's when we operate at our best. And I think to have that in a city of 8.5 million people, to not only have the person identified, but apprehended within that 4-hour period just speaks to the testament of the effort with that occurrence. Any other questions?
All right. I don't see any hands in person. Oh, we have one towards the back. Yep. Wait for the mic, please.
Yeah, I'll give it this one.
Yeah.
What resources is your department working with for mentally ill? Mentally ill.
So I'm sure you're very well aware of like the breaking ground through this, right? Like, they come into play at times like this, cold weather. We activate what's called a cold weather alert. Deploying teams of officers with break offer services, offer medical aid, and really do encourage people to, to get off the street at that point in time. Once it reaches down to this 20 degrees and 30-degree temperatures, it's not a situation that somebody should have to be out there on the street. And we offer our services. Again, I can't force anybody, right? I can't say, no, you got to get off the street and go into, whether shelter services or medical aid or things like that. But they do. Once those cold weather emergencies hit, they deploy in those teams and go out there. And like I said, they put their best foot forward to offer services. Not everybody's always welcome, right, to open to taking them, but at least you could do is offer, right? You know that you could offer that at all times. But if you know of somebody specifically in need, like if you walk to work or something like that, and you see like the same person off on the corner, you could let us know that, and we could go out there and see, what we could do for that individual. That's no problem. Okay.
Please use the mic. Folks on Zoom can't hear.
Domestic home incidents with mentally ill adolescents.
Something that's domestic in nature. We have a domestic violence team, a sergeant and 6 police officers that work 7 days a week, that if a home needs a visit for some follow-up, it would be referred to them. Yeah. So you let us know. If there is, yeah, like I said, you bring it up to my offices there. You could tell them the address, the person, we could just do a wellness check one day, introduce ourselves and see what we could do to better the situation in the home. Okay? All right, you're welcome.
All right. Thank you, Captain.
Thank you.
All right. That concludes this part of the agenda. We'll move on now to the district manager's report. So good evening, everyone. I'm going to try to keep this quick. Happy belated Indigenous Peoples' Day. It is also Breast Cancer Awareness, Emotional Wellness, and World Bullying Prevention Month. I hope you've been able to enjoy some of the related activities in Bushwick and beyond. This month is one of the busiest times of the year in the board's district office as we prepare to submit the annual statement of community district needs and budget requests in addition to regular business. The board also welcomed 17 new public members on the various committees last month. With their brief virtual orientations held last week, public members are appointed by the board chair, Mr. Camacho, twice a year, September and January. They count toward quorum when attending in person and may help shape recommendations even though they do not vote. For more information on public members, you can visit the committee's page on the board's website or contact the district office. I'd also like to share a quote that I've been meditating on recently by the novelist and luminary Alice Walker. The most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any. I often hear from board members and some community residents that wonder why the community board doesn't have more power. It is important to remember why we are here and what the board's role is and isn't. The board is responsible for advising and informing city agencies and elected officials about Bushwick's needs. We build power together when we organize, plan, and put pen to paper. And then I have some meetings that I've attended, of course, but before I jump into that really quickly, I want to acknowledge that we have a couple of staff anniversaries. So I just want to congratulate Adelina on 1 year this month. Yay! And Kim on 3 years.
Kim, 3 already? Man, you're an old dog now.
All right. So there we go. So on Thursday, September 19th, I was in a Need Landmarks Coalition meeting. There are neighborhoods across the city that have organized to advocate for more preservation opportunities, generally neighborhoods that have not had many historic districts within the neighborhood or landmarks, individual landmarks. The Riseboro monthly property management meetings continue. We know that there are tenants that live within Riseboro managed buildings that have concerns, and we are doing our best to hold them accountable and make sure we're working together to support everyone. And then I want to also flag the Future of Community Boards Working Group, which consists of district managers citywide. Those conversations continue, as does the CB Term Limit Project. Thank you for everyone that came out in June. We will be sharing more information on next phases for that project. Hopefully we'll get some support from the borough president, potentially borough presidents citywide. I'm happy to keep everyone posted, and I will leave it there this evening. Thank you, everyone. That's my report. All right, committee reports. Economic development plus housing and land use. Bullet points, please.
Hi, everybody. Ann Guiney, Housing and Land Use Committee. And also, I would just like to welcome Christine Malden, who is taking over from Jessica Tiburcio, who had to resign from the board. We will miss her. She was a wonderful member of the board and our committee. So thank you, Jessica, for all the work you did. We'll miss you, but also welcome Christine, and I look forward to working with you. Our meeting was September 24th. And we started with a review from Frampton Tolbert, who is the director of the Historic Districts Council. A lot of the preservation work in Bushwick got started by people like Sandra and in the Bushwick Community Plan. Thank you for all of your work, Sandra. And an awareness that our zoning regulations allow a lot of our historic buildings, especially those on Bushwick Avenue and around, like some of the older buildings, just to be torn down because of the existing zoning. So this is a longstanding concern. Frampton Tolbert from HDC was here to specifically talk about Bushwick's participation in something called what is it, 6 to celebrate. So they choose 6 neighborhoods every year to really focus on and bring some attention to. And then also the City of Yes. How is City of Yes going to affect historic preservation? So we talked a lot about that. It's all reported in the notes. And then the next thing we talked about was a revision that is ongoing of the responsible development policy. Everybody here probably remembers voting on that several years ago. It's basically a document we give to people who want to build in Bushwick, say, these are our values, these are our beliefs, this is what we're gonna ask you for, so please know before you come, this is what we're asking you for. We decided to review it. Christian Celeste Tate has been doing wonderful work in that area, and we will, as a committee, review it and then bring it before the board, explain the changes that we're proposing and ask for your support in that. And that is all. As ever, there's so much going on. We welcome members of the board and members of the public to come to these meetings. There's a lot of really interesting stuff. We need help, we need support, we need input. Thank you very much.
Environmental protection, transportation, sanitation, and parks.
Hello again, everybody. Christian Celeste Tate, Chair of the Committee on Environmental Protection, Sanitation, and Transportation. So we talked about 2 things in our committee at the end of last month. The first thing were dining out applications. As probably from last month's meeting, our committee is in charge of providing the Department of Transportation with feedback for when restaurants apply to make those like COVID era outdoor dining sheds into more permanent paid for spots. So this month we talked about 1 new application from Gordo's Cantina, which is on the corner of Stockholm and St. Nick. They're applying for a sidewalk cafe, which would be about 6 feet wide, taking up about 1/3 of the sidewalk. That's less than the 50% limit that they're allowed to apply for. So the committee recommended approving that application with a couple of stipulations. First, that they be extremely mindful about keeping the remaining 12 sidewalk. That establishment is a couple blocks away from Wyckoff Hospital, so folks are going to be coming through with limited mobility and need to be mindful of that. The next stipulations are the standard permits and licensing stipulations. No outdoor dining after 10 p.m., no amplified music outdoors, and that the restaurant post any local jobs on the CB4's jobs board. That's our only recommendation for dining out applications. The second thing that we talked about was a potential one-way conversion of Ridgewood Place. This we also talked about in last month's full board meeting. We're talking about the 3-block stretch of Ridgewood Place in between Putnam Ave and Palmetto Street. When the committee met, the board had received petition from 29 residents in support of that conversion. But as we discussed as a full board last month, the committee wanted to make sure that sufficient outreach was done to block members. And so the committee voted to recommend supporting that one-way conversion with the stipulation that an additional round of outreach be conducted and that block residents be invited to join this meeting as well. Since that time, we have received a total of 46 petitions, 25 of which are from folks living directly on Ridgewood Place. So those are the committee's only 2 recommendations. We also talked about a couple of things that we ultimately ended up tabling until next month's meeting because we were short on time. Those included clogged storm drains in Maria Hernandez and Irving Square Park, the fare-free bus program, which until recently made the B20 free, and daylighting, which is when the DOT prohibits cars from parking within 20 feet of an intersection in order to increase traffic safety, or pedestrian safety, excuse me. So those 3 things will come back to you with more next month, but for now, only recommendations on Ridgewood Place and Gordo's Cantina.
Thank you. All right, next we have permits and licenses.
Hi again, everyone. Christine Malden, reading the report on behalf of our committee chair, Melissa Carrera-Solano. We had 4 liquor license applications this past month. 2 were new and 2 were corporate changes. So the first one is 233 Star Street. This is a Korean restaurant and karaoke venue offering Korean cuisine with private karaoke rooms. I believe it is only a wine, beer, and cider license, and their hours of operation, no outdoor space. Their hours of operations would be from Sunday through Thursday from 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. and Friday and Saturday, 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. The committee voted in favor of supporting this applicant with some stipulations about soundproofing and getting in touch with the precinct. Number 2 is the Empyrean Club on 421 Troutman Street. This is a bigger venue. This is a theater/venue. Looking for a full liquor license. They are in the very early days of planning right now because they hadn't even signed a lease, but it was a good sign, we thought, that they came to speak to the community board early on. It is going to be a theater venue that really took inspiration from sort of more creative types of theater off from Broadway. The founders have a long background in Broadway operations, so they wanted to bring some of that to Bushwick. And we also voted in favor of supporting this business and their application with some additional stipulations of just coming back to talk to us throughout the process and being mindful of, hiring locally and providing soundproofing and getting in touch with Assemblymember Davila's office, et cetera. So those were the two new applications. And just for the record, these are both in the really highly saturated area around the Jefferson L stop. So 2 brand new liquor licenses, also taking over 2 previous manufacturing units, just for information. After that, we had 2 corporate changes. One, Bar Bushy doing business as Bossa Nova at 1271 Myrtle Avenue. They are just removing one partner from the liquor license, which is the reason for their corporate change. Their hours of alcohol sales are 7 p.m. to 4 a.m. every day of the week. So just as a reminder, when there's a corporate change, we're not in a position to make any recommendations about amended hours as we are with the new applicants. And then number 2, I apologize, I'm going to butcher this, but it's Cevicheros on 1443 Myrtle Avenue. It's a full liquor license, also a corporate change. They're adding 2 new corporate officers and changing the name of the restaurant to La Cueva Ecuatoriana. Their sale of alcohol hours are Monday through Thursday, 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday through Sunday, 1 p.m. to 1 a.m. And I believe that is it. We've also voted in favor of supporting both of these corporate changes with just some additional documentation. I will mention one last thing I forgot to mention. I'm sorry, for the new theater venue. One of the things that we did ask for is that because there are so many venues in this area, and especially large venues and more of them, we did ask for something new, which is actually required technically by the SLA, I believe, which is a statement of public interest when the 500-foot rule is triggered, which the 500-foot rule says that there should be no more than 3 liquor establishments within a 500-foot radius, which of course there's quite a bit more than that. And technically this would trigger the a special application in addition to the application that states why this establishment would be in the public interest to exist. So just point of information about that. I think that's it. The location for the theater is on Troutman between Wyckoff and St. Nicholas. The address exactly is 421 Troutman Street. So it's right next to Union Pizza Works in the old frame shop. It is called the Empyrean Club. And they're, like I said, they're very early days, so they have they're going to come back to us with, certificate of occupancy and all this sort of thing, but they have a lot of construction and amendments to the space to make.
Please use the mic. People on Zoom can't hear.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, wait. Yeah, if you have questions, yeah.
And, the Empyrean is the theater. Okay, and the karaoke place?
That one is called, let's see what that one is called. It is only called 233 Star Street for now.
203 Star,
233 Star.
233 Star Street.
Yes. Inc.
Oh, Inc.
Doesn't
Thank you
have a
very,
name yet.
thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Joanna Bennett. I have a question. Would you please repeat when an establishment is exempt from the stipulations posed by the committee?
Can you help me out with that one, Celeste? So I believe that we can make the recommendations regardless, but we really don't have too much of a say in it when it's a corporate change. It's really only when they come up from renewal that we can say, hey, we've stipulated these hours of operation in this neighborhood, for example, which is what we've been doing with the new applicants, so sort of reduced hours. So there are some legacy folks that go to like 4 a.m.
So just to clarify, that was great, Christine. Thank you. Only new applications will the board stipulate hours. Any other applicant, whether it's a renewal, corporate change, alteration, the board cannot change the hours as they've already been given a license by the SLA.
Just one question. The last meeting, I think I heard they were applying for a liquor license for Carousel. It's an older business in the area, but it just got a new place on Myrtle with Villa Isla. I was just wondering if they got the permit.
I am sorry, I was not here last month, so I can't speak to that one, but I can maybe either someone remembers or maybe Celeste knows.
So they provide 30 days notice before they apply to the SLA. The SLA's process takes many months. To see who has a license from the state, you can always go to the New York State Liquor Authority's website, or you can contact the board's office for assistance. All right, if there are no other questions, I'm trying to finish my note. We will move on to recommendations. I will let folks from committees with recommendations, our committee chairs, bring those forth.
So Christian Celeste Tate from Environmental Protection, Parks and, Transportation and Sanitation. So we had two recommendations. The first was to vote in favor of of Gordo's Cantina's dining out application with the following stipulations: that the cafe be extremely mindful of keeping the remaining 12 feet of sidewalk clear, outdoor dining to end at 10 p.m., no amplified music outdoors, and post local jobs to on CB4's jobs board.
Alvina makes a motion. Is there a second? Oh. Yeah, well, exactly what he said, right? Okay, Alvina makes a motion and say a name, please. Thank you, Isa. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? I don't see any hands. So moved.
Thank you. And then the second recommendation that we had was to write a letter to DOT in support of converting Ridgewood Place between Putnam and Palmetto into a one-way street.
Say a name. By Felix Ceballos seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. Any other recommendations? Permits and licenses?
Permits and license.
Yes, so permits and licenses. I alluded to some of our stipulations earlier. First of all, Celeste, what is the protocol for the blanket?
Someone can make a motion for a blanket vote. Oh, so Eliseo is making a motion for a blanket vote. Is there a second? Christian Celeste Tate seconds. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved on the blanket vote.
Great. And so now I'll just read through the stipulations briefly. Okay. So number one, new wine, beer, and cider Korean restaurant with karaoke. No amendments were needed on their application. We just voted in favor to support with soundproofing, additional soundproofing measures in place. Number 2, 421 Troutman. Yes, there were some amendments needed and submitted. The committee voted in favor with a bunch of stipulations, mostly to provide documentation along the way as they develop their project, and in particular to provide the letter of interest that we had, the public interest that we had mentioned earlier, and then there'll be a whole host of other documentation that will be necessary along the way. And we invited them. They were very amenable to coming back and talking to us as well throughout the process. And then for the corporate changes, we had 1271 Myrtle, no need for additional documentation, and 1443 Myrtle. They did not submit amended hours and supporting documents that were requested. So there is, let's see, Kim, I might need your help on this one. Corporate change applicants hours, oh, right, that's not that one. The permits and license chair suggested that we voted not in favor of applicants who did not submit their amended documentation in time.
So that would apply to new applicants, but are we talking about corporate? So what were they supposed to submit as a corporate change?
Amended hours and what was the?
Okay, so there was one business that had till 1 a.m., but it was supposed to be 12 based on a previous recommendation. Was that it? So, but do they have a license till 1 a.m.? Right, so they're like, okay, so going back to the question that was already asked, if they're a corporate change, their license and they already have a license, then the committee cannot change their hours.
Right, but there was something particular about this one, no? There was like
That's what I thought.
Yeah, there's something particular, like they didn't intend to have it till.
Use the mic, Christine.
Sorry, I don't remember exactly what the particulars were on this one, but it wasn't about us stipulating.
What it was
about-
that he put on there 1 o'clock when he should have put 12.
Right, I think that it was not.
It was not
it was an error.
inconclusive with what they were asking, what as the corporate
Right.
paper had. They had 12 and they put 1 to try to
It
pass
was like
it
a
through.
human error.
It was a human error. He said it was an error. They were gonna update it that it is
Okay.
12.
So I just want to be mindful of like the board suggesting no if it was just a human error as opposed to someone who was negligent and just didn't want to abide by the stipulation.
Right, I think it was more no on the basis just that if they had not provided updated documentation following our meeting, but they were in agreement that they needed to, and they just
Okay.
didn't follow through.
So the recommendations were support with those stipulations for what needed to be corrected. Okay.
Correct.
Is there a motion for these recommendations? Okay, is there a second? Thank you, Isa. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? What do you, opposed first? Any opposed? Okay, opposed, Albina Davis. Anyone else opposed? Seeing no one? Abstentions? Any other abstentions? All right, motion carries. All right, I think that concludes our recommendations, folks. Oh, actually, I can't forget. Oh, okay, what's the? Okay. Yep.
Hello again, Ben Tucker, Parks Chair. We had the presentation for the dog run at the Parks Committee, and we motioned to write a letter of support with the following stipulations. We would support the park, but as one of the residents mentioned, we'd like a higher fence around the dog run area itself, and we'd like the Park Department to make a commitment to doing a better job on enforcement.
Is there a motion? Annette Spellin, a second. Barbara Jackson, all in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. 10 years in the making, folks. All right. And we also have our annual budget, the report, and the recommendations that were provided earlier today. Is there a motion to accept those requests? Is there a second? Annette seconds, all in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? So one opposed. Anyone else opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. All right, I believe that is now the end of recommendations. We now have old business going once, going twice, none. New business going once, going twice, none. Everyone's favorite part of the meeting. All right, announcements.
Announcements,
A minute
1.5.
and a
I
half.
got a big monkey. I'm gonna pull you out when you go.
Please line up. Please line up in the front.
Hi, and that's, just want to let everybody know the Making Strides for Breast Cancer Walk in Manhattan is Sunday. The Making Strides for Breast Cancer Walk in Brooklyn is next Sunday in Coney Island. Hope you can participate.
Thank you. Next one.
Hi, Cecilia Fabian. Once again, inviting you to come visit my shop. I'm on 963 Bushwick Avenue. Winter's here. Come shop, knit, wear, and crochet wear. So come support. All right. I'm usually open Tuesday to Sunday from 12 noon to 8 p.m. Thank you.
Hi, good night, everyone. My name is Rafael Brown. My wife and I recently opened an event space called Brochure House on Knickerbocker Avenue, 786 Knickerbocker Avenue on Halsey and Knickerbocker. So we just recently opened up our space. We welcome you guys to take a chance to come visit it. See, it's a beautiful space. Some of you may be familiar with it. It's Rafael Espinal old headquarters. We took it over. So we just recently opened it up. We opened it in March. So far we had about 8 successful events, and the neighborhood have been very supportive. So we just want to introduce ourselves and let you know that we're here, and thank you.
Remind me, I'm sorry, I missed the note. Can you remind me of your name and then the organization?
Oh, Rafael Brown, and the event space is called Brosha House, BROSHA. So it's a combination of my last name and my wife's maiden name. So that's what it came.
And the space is on Knickerbocker? or-
Knickerbocker.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep, I didn't catch if it was Knickerbocker or Broadway. Just want to be sure for the notes.
All
Thank
right,
you,
thank you.
folks.
786 Knickerbocker.
Yeah, there were two. All right.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. My name is Juanita James. I'm with the Brooklyn Public Library, Washington Irving branch. I do have my colleague from DeKalb, so we want to do it really quickly. So the Brooklyn Public Library is doing Hispanic Heritage Month. We have events across the system, so please check that out. We also have expanded the ESOL classes, especially for the asylum seekers. So if you want to look for more information, look at the brooklynpubliclibrary.org ESOL. We also started back our Reading Set Kindergarten, which is a special 6 session months. That's for kids from 3 to 5 and their caregivers, and 20 branches. One is at Washington Irving, so please come by. We're also doing the Freedom to Read a Day of Action on October 17th. Also look in there. And we have all our events at Washington Irving and DeKalb. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Juanita. My name's I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm now the assistant branch manager at the DeKalb branch. I was at Washington Irving for a number of years, and just wanted to highlight some of what we have going on at DeKalb. We've got chess for the kids on Tuesday afternoons. We've had a great creative aging jewelry class for seniors the past couple months, and on November 12th, 4:30, we're having a final celebration. So please come see what all the seniors have been working on. We're going to have a little celebration, and otherwise just come by and say hello. If you have ideas, let us know, and thanks for having me.
Well, the Office of Senator Julia Salazar, we have, I have 2 flyers in the back. We're having a mobile adoption event on Saturday, November 2nd from noon to 4 p.m. at our office, 212 Evergreen Avenue. I also have the flyer for the Home Energy Assistance Program that will open on November 1st. So if you need assistance, please reach out to our office, 718-573-1726. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nairi Smith. I'm the Coalition Coordinator and Supervisor for Canva's Brooklyn Yes Youth Against Substance Misuse Coalition. We're a primary prevention and harm reduction coalition servicing LGBTQ plus youth and young adults ages 13 through 29 about education on substances, primarily alcohol. That's our substance of choice. And we have our Reducing Alcohol Access to Minors campaign known as RAM. It's this cute little RAM logo we've got going on. We did a community needs assessment, and the queer and trans youth young adults told us that they like to come to Bushwick. And as a queer person myself, I knew that that was factual because it's accepting, because we will have community here. But they also anonymously told us that they have a very high access rate to alcohol, and we realize it's because of certain of lack of resources for certain businesses. So we're trying to partner with businesses to provide them ID scanners, to help them organize their coolers, to have language accessible throughout all languages that are spoken in Bushwick, to label cans that look like the regular cans but are infused. Like if you've seen the Arizona tea, it looks exactly the same as the infused Arizona tea. So having stickers of things of that nature. You can talk to me more about it if it sounds interesting to you. We also have art programs. My number is 929-627-3649. I am Nairi Smith.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tanisha. I am here on behalf of the Bureau of Neighborhood Health. We are here because we are interested in replicating our success of diabetes classes in Bed-Stuy to now do it in Bushwick. I have been serving in the community. I know I met you recently in the community. But yes, we are looking to partner with potential host sites. All that you would require is to hold a space for once a week for 5 weeks and have interested folks that would like to learn about diabetes and how to manage their diabetes. You don't have to have diabetes to take this class. A lot of people take it because they're interested in preventing their genetic makeup, helping a loved one, or just learning more. That's totally fine. So if you're interested in possibly learning more about taking a class, please contact me. I left some flyers over there and I'll be around. Or if you're interested in potentially hosting, please let me know. I know I wanted to touch base with Juanita and maybe another library person here. Hey. So yes, perfect. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, sorry, duh. 718-637-5226. And my name is Tanisha. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, 2 quick announcements. First, I'm standing in for Fran from Councilmember Nurse's office to remind everybody about participatory budgeting. It's going on right now. We just had this whole conversation about what Bushwick needs from a budgetary perspective. Let's keep that momentum going. Right now, PB is collecting ideas that we'll then all vote on in March. So please go online to the council's website or Councilmember Nurse's website and put in any ideas that you have. I'll go through and make sure that all of the qualifying needs from the Bushwick Needs Assessment are already inputted. But if you have any ideas above and beyond that, please put them in there. Last year, Bushwick's 2 council districts were the top 2 ranked participation in the entire city. So we're trying to keep that momentum going. Second quick announcement, board members and staff, I sent around an email about this, but trying to put together a community building event on October 27th. That's 2 Sundays from now. Don't make that face, Ms. Jackson. Come on now. Community building, October 27th. It's Sunday. Ms. Jackson's going to be there. Highland Park is hosting a disc golf event from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So we're just going to go out, enjoy the fall weather, and throw around. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Joe from Friends of Irving Square Park. 2 things. Want to reiterate participatory budgeting that Chris mentioned. Great way to submit capital improvements, right? Whether you improvements in the park infrastructure, right? Not necessarily programs or services, but specific concrete things that can be improved or created anew. So if you see something that is nasty in the park, you can submit an idea to the map that he just mentioned is really great as well. Lastly, we have a farmer's market going on at Irving Square Park through the end of November. It's really wonderful. We're there most weeks to, hear from the community about what they want to see in the park, how we can better serve everybody and volunteer. And then also you can get really good produce that's cheaper than Food Bazaar and fresher than Food at the farmer's market.
Good evening, everybody. Sundays. Good evening, everybody. My name is Dwayne Frankson. I'm here to promote a free workshop. It's going to be online, 90 minutes. It's called Ignite Organizational Success 2025. The end of the year is really a good time for organizations to assess what they've done and where they want to go. In the workshop, we're really going to be sharing some ideas and concepts around having those strategic planning discussions that tend to go on this time of year. And I think that, community organizations, businesses, all of you are welcome to participate. Again, it's free. I petition the district manager to include it in their announcements, and I'll leave some flyers up at the front. But it's all based on some work from Leadership Challenge. I'm a facilitator. I've been doing it for 5 years, and I really hope everyone can attend. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Zachary Hendrickson, board member here, but also speaking on behalf of New York City Democratic Socialists of America. I just want to take a moment to invite everyone in the room. An election is coming up. Oh my God, it's horrible. It's happening again. But it is happening. Talking about there are a lot of important ballot proposals, but obviously also the presidential election. I just wanted to invite everyone. The Brooklyn branch of DSA is hosting an election watch party at Star Bar on November 5th. That's 214 Star Street. Just want to invite everyone here. It's a big year. It's a big moment. We just feel like we wanted to have a place where people could come together and watch and like not be alone at home and like staring at the TV. So please come through. It'll be when the election is on in the evening. So
Thank you.
I just wanted you guys, this is one of the owners that you guys just approved, the corporate change. She, invite you to her business and it's on her. She's a little scared, but I told her, don't be scared. We don't bite.
You guys, my name is Jasmine Guanoquiza, and I'm inviting you guys to come visit us. The corporate name changes La Hueca Ecuatoriana now. We are an Ecuadorian restaurant, and feel free to stop by anytime to visit us and try the Ecuadorian cuisine. We are located on 1443 Myrtle Avenue. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. It's me again. I'm just going to be really quick right now. Two things. One, for board members, October 31st is our community board member workshop. The state liquor authority will be hosting it, giving us tips, understanding exactly what the agency does, how to advocate with the agency, how to create recommendations to the agency so that our recommendations are heard. And the next thing is, it's that time of year again. Community board application season is about to open. Please note that all members with expiring terms who want to be reconsidered for appointment must reapply. We do our best. We'll send out 2 notices. One should be coming out in about a week and a half or a little later than that. We have some other things that have to happen first, because we want, when you receive that notice, that you say, you know what, let me reapply right now. So I'll get to you. So there's that. And we also want you to spread the word. Each year there's turnover from the boards. People have other things, or they've been doing it a long time, or they just no longer have the capacity. So please encourage folks that you know to apply. We need new people, new ideas all the time. Even if you don't apply to the board, come to the meetings, come out and engage, please. So tell people, tell them come to the meetings, tell them consider applying. We need both people at the meetings and the board members. And that's it from me. And Miss Spellin, see, I'm paying attention.
I'm glad you did. Question, you say applications. What about people with term limits? Are they going
Speak
to
into
be
the mic.
allowed to apply an application for reinstatement?
So the official term limits don't really hit for another couple of years. So even if you've been a board member for a long time, you can reapply. So we have about
Next year will be 25. We have 3 more years.
Yeah, so 2027, this is the last time for folks with more than 8 years of service that expire in an odd year. This is the last 2-year appointment term.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Carolyn. And I believe we have one person on Zoom. Angelica, go for it.
Okay, I'm gonna be short. Thank you so much. We are officially kicking off PB. So I want to second everything that Fran has said and Christian as well. So we want to make sure we get the most amount of votes. We're also having our Halloween event at Moore Street Market on the 31st from 2:30 to 5 p.m. At the Moore Street Market. So we hope for you to join us. And I also wanted to let you know about the Riseboro Calabaza Fest that has been happening for many, many years. That is happening at Maria Hernandez Park on the 27th, which is a Sunday at 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And the live performances are going to be starting at 12 p.m. And the last item is if anybody has any graffiti removal requests, please have the building owner contact our office at 718-963-3141, and we will work with them individually. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Angelica. And I was asked by the fabulous Miss Danielle Chambers, for those that know her, who lives on Bleecker Street, as well as Kwebe Koti, former board member and founder of the Bushwick Film Festival. It is now the Bushwick Film Festival, October 16th, starting tonight to the 20th. 17 years, folks. This year's theme is Producing the Dream, and they invite everyone to join. There's a use code here, Bushwick Community, for 50% off tickets. So check it out. There's a lot of information online, and there's some flyers that should be available on the back. That is it for announcements. Board members, please be ready. Second roll call. All right, Linda Whitfield. Jerry Valentine. Ben Tucker.
Present, Celeste. Good night.
Gotcha, Jerry. Christian Tate. James Stewart. Annette Spellin. Barbara Smith. Bernardina Shell. Milagro Sandoval. Eliseo Ruiz. Raul Rubio. Caitlin Penner. Carlos Ortiz. Zuma Navoa. Romika Nichols Barnes. Please sign in. Mary McClellan. Freddie Madison. Christine Malden. Luisa Jose. Tara Jones Thomas. Kaisha Johnson. Please sign in, Kaisha. Deborah Hicks.
Good night.
Zachary Hendrickson. Ann Guiney. Christopher Graham. Jason Gares. Freddie Fowler. Cecilia Fabian. Karina Dodd. Elvina Davis. Andrew Choi. Felix Ceballos. Robert Camacho. Joanna Bennett. Jacqueline Becerra.
Right here.
Got you, Jacqueline. Stephanie Anderson. Please sign in, Stephanie. Isa Abney. All right, motion to adjourn. Barbara makes a motion. Who seconds? Raul Rubio seconds. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. 9:17. It's on the sheet. I have it.